This is Nationwide 90 FM, owned and operated by Nationwide News Network Limited. We broadcast from our studios at 14 Ocean Boulevard in the Digicel Center, downtown Kingston, Jamaica, transmitting on the FM 90 band, 90.3 from Peters Rock in St. Andrew and Murphy Hill in St. Anne, serving Kingston and St. Andrew, St. Catherine, St. Anne, parts of Clarendon, St. Mary and St. Thomas. 90.5 from Huntley in Manchester, transmitting to St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland, Manchester, Clarendon, rural St. Andrew and parts of St. Thomas, and 90.7 from Cooper's Hill in St. Andrew and Flower Hill in St. James, serving Westmoreland, Hanover, St. James, sections of Trelawney, Kingston, St. Catherine, Clarendon, St. Mary, Portland and St. Anne. Nationwide 90 FM also broadcast on YouTube at Nationwide 90 FM Live and on Flow at Channel 916. Nationwide 90 FM, a new revolution in media.
You're listening to Nationwide 90 FM. The time is
6 o'clock.
From the studios of Nationwide Radio, morning radio the right way. It's Nationwide This Morning.
A very good morning to you. I'm Tawna Thomas. Coming up in the news at 6 for this morning, Tuesday, May 19, 2026. Finance Minister says close to $70 billion has been allocated for projects as part of Hurricane Melissa rebuilding effort. JFJ says a police fatal shooting of woman in Granville proves need for body-worn cameras. West Central St. James MP urges calm following the Granville shooting. In regional news, Cuba condemns a fresh wave of U.S. sanctions. In international news, WHO warns Ebola may be spreading faster than previously thought. In sports, Red forced to start second innings against Harpy Eagles in Antigua later this Tuesday morning. And in business, Barita Investments head says investor confidence is still on the mend. The details after the break.
Imagine designing something unique, something personal, something bigger than just a dream. A reality designed by you, just for you. With Sagicor Lifestyle Approved Retirement Scheme, you can design the life you want to live. With tax-deferred savings of up to 20% of your income, you'll have the opportunity to do what you've always wanted to do. A reality designed by you. Call 888 Sagicor today. Conditions apply.
Catch the first news of the day. A comprehensive package of local, international, sports, and business news. The news at 6 on Nationwide 90 FM.
Now to the details. Finance Minister Favour Williams says nearly $70 billion have already been directed by the government towards various projects under the Hurricane Melissa rebuilding effort. She was responding to criticism of the government's handling of the $1.4 billion in donations it has received for the recovery effort, with the Auditor General noting that up to early April, only $26 million of the sum have already been spent.
We ought not to forget that the government allocated approximately $67 billion for hurricane spending, for relief, for recovery, for reconstruction. That's a significant number. Yes, donations came in to an account that was set up, and we are extremely happy for the donation. However, as you heard from ODPEM, those funds that have come in as donation have to be carefully handled.
Director General of the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management, ODPEM, Commander Alvin Gale, says that the $1.4 billion in donated funds are intended to support national relief interventions which form part of the Shelter Recovery Program. Minister Williams says the pace of spending will likely be far advanced the next time the Auditor General reports on the real-time tracking of the management of funds.
You've already heard from the Prime Minister that it will be spent on, at least in the first stage, building the base for the modular houses. When next the Auditor General looks at it, we'll be able to point to specifically what it was spent. It would be a totally different conversation if we had taken those donations into the consolidated fund and spent it generally. Even if we spent it on recovery and reconstruction, we may not have been able to point one-to-one, saying we got this dollar from donation and here's where it's spent, because the consolidated fund, there's no earmarking, there's no ring fencing when funds come into the consolidated fund.
Favour Williams, Minister of Finance. Former Deputy Commissioner of Police in charge of crime, Mark Shields, is urging the public to await the findings of the probe into Sunday's controversial killing by the police of a woman in Granville, St. James. Shields, the managing director of Shields Crime and Security Consultants, says notwithstanding the deeply troubling nature of a video of the incident, which has been making the rounds on social media, it's unwise to draw conclusions at this time.
I think that, however concerning these images appear to be, the video we has seen lasts for about 10 seconds. We do not know what preceded that incident. We need to let Indicom do precisely what they do, which is to conduct a full, fair and transparent investigation. We don't know what happened prior to that, so I can't really comment on that. It looks terrible, but we have to allow the authorities, mainly Indicom, to do their job thoroughly, quickly, and bring some closure to the community one way or the other, because you saw the images, as you said. They are very harrowing, very, very harrowing indeed.
The incident captured on CCTV resulted in the death of 43-year-old Latoya Bulgin, otherwise called Buju. The footage shows the moment the vehicle being driven by Bulgin lurches towards a policeman. It also captures the moment the policeman fires his weapon in the direction of the driver's side of the vehicle. Shields says the way the woman was handled by the police after the shooting incident leaves much to be desired.
If you think about anything, whether it's a road traffic accident or a fatal shooting or any other incident, the principle of the police is to save life, to preserve life. Preserving life and property are the fundamental issues around policing. There was no attempt. Well, these people are not doctors, admittedly, but there was no attempt. They presumed, I assume, that she was dead by the way she was dragged from the vehicle, dragged along the footway or the road, and then thrown into the back of a police vehicle. There was no attempt to conduct any first aid at all. And we can hide around where they're not doctors. No, they're certainly not doctors, but they could perhaps do more than they did, because even by doing that, even if the woman was still alive and had been hit by a bullet, which at the moment I do not know, but we'll make that assumption, it may have been that dragging her along like that may have made the injury even worse. They can't judge if somebody is dead or alive.
Mark Shields, a former Deputy Commissioner of Police in charge of crime. Shields, the Managing Director of Shields Crime and Security Consultants, was speaking on Nationwide at 5 on Monday. Meanwhile, Executive Director of Jamaicans for Justice, JFJ Michael Jackson, says the video highlights the need for greater use by the police of body-worn cameras.
Correct. It's impatient of the date. I think we have to look to ensuring that there is fast tracking of the body-worn cameras, and when they are actually here, the utilization of the body-worn cameras, that is something that we have to pay close attention to, as well as reviewing the policies governing the body-worn cameras in terms of activation and so on, and what disciplinary procedures are put in place if an officer fails to activate it without a justified reason.
Jackson says there are serious questions about whether the actions of the policemen involved in the shooting incident were indeed justified.
Given that the investigation is still undergoing, we don't know what happened before, and we have to be careful in our pronouncements. Having said that, however, there is enough in the video for us to take pause and to raise concerns about whether or not the use of lethal force was proportionate to the threat that the officer faced. And with the absence of the body-worn cameras not being able to give us the information, that independent account, because when you look again at how the CCTV footage, the hand, the angle, and so on, it doesn't give you the full account, which is why the body-worn cameras are so important.
Michael Jackson, Executive Director of Jamaicans for Justice. In the meantime, MP for West Central St. James, Marlene Malahoo Fort, is urging residents to remain calm and allow due process to take its course. The community of Granville, where the shooting incident happened, is part of that constituency.
My message to my constituents is to stay on the right side of the law, let the law take its course, because what has unfolded so far, I believe, will invite a lot of reflection in every relevant part of government, and I'm hoping that we will not miss the opportunity that this crisis has provided.
On Sunday, residents of Granville blocked roads and set fire to debris in protest at the killing by the police of 43-year-old Latoya Bulgin, otherwise called Buju. Malahoo Fort is commending those residents who've come forward to assist with the investigation.
The investigation by Indicom has proceeded swiftly, and I want to say a big thank you to all citizens who have come forward, who have cooperated, who have given statements, and I also want to thank those who have made the camera footage and other video recordings available to the investigators.
Marlene Malahoo Fort, MP for West Central St. James. President of the All Voice Taxi Association, Lorraine Finnegan, says his members are satisfied with the timeline given by Transport Minister Darrell Vaz to implement the long-awaited 16% fare increase. He was speaking on Nationwide at 5 on Monday.
We are satisfied with the timeline. We are satisfied on the basis that, one, we have been engaging with the Minister on several occasions, even since 2026, as it relates to the 16%. We are face-to-face with him on the 11th of March, and we have a Zoom meeting with him 2 weeks later. And in each of those meetings, he made their commitments and recommitted for us to get it in June. Today is the first we have gotten a definite date, which is the first it will go to Cabinet. And after Cabinet, now we'll hear two things. One, the date we'll be getting it, and if we'll be getting it in full or in transit.
The government approved a 35% fare increase in October 2023. However, only a 19% component was implemented. The additional 16% was scheduled for implementation in April 2024. However, due to high inflation, the fare adjustment was not made. During a stakeholder meeting on Monday, Minister Vaz said a submission on the increase will go to Cabinet on June 1. Finnegan says assurances from both Minister Vaz and Finance Minister Favour Williams are welcomed.
Based on that, in addition to the fact that he brought the finance minister with him to speak with us directly, and both of them explained to us some of these things that are presently affecting the economy as it relates to the Middle East and the gas crisis. And we take them into serious consideration. Look at the fact that 1st of June is 2 weeks from now. Look at the fact that we didn't hear an announcement on the radio. They came to us directly and have face-to-face with us. They engaged with us. So we are satisfied with the approach both ministers of government take, and we are willing to wait until the 1st of June.
Lorraine Finnegan, president of the All Voice Taxi Association. The Bustamante Industrial Trade Union, BITU, and the Jamaica Teachers Association, JTA, are set to meet today, Tuesday, May 19, to discuss ongoing wage concerns of some workers. The move comes as several JTA workers took to the streets on Monday to protest over outstanding payments. BITU Vice President Rudolph Thomas spoke with our news center.
It is likely that they may consider escalating that. So whilst they would have had a sit-in today, it could be that becomes escalated to a full-blown strike action if the matter is not addressed. I think it's prudent to share with you though that subsequent to today's demonstration, the BITU has been contacted by the management of the JTA and they have requested a meeting at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. As we understand it, that meeting should seek to treat with the beginning of the consultation process for the implementation of the market realignment survey as well as negotiations for the outstanding period.
The BITU represents several categories of JTA workers. These include security, ancillary, accounting, and clerical staff. The union says that the dispute arose from the JTA's failure to provide details surrounding the calculation of incremental and seniority salary increases from 2017 to the present, citing several discrepancies. According to the union, the situation has worsened due to management's failure to conclude wage and fringe benefits negotiations for the period 2024 to 2026. Additionally, the union says there have been delays in engagement between the union and the JTA management to implement a market realignment exercise which was to have taken effect from 2024. Thomas says he anticipates the union will leave the meeting with clear timelines to provide to its members.
What we are looking for coming out of that meeting is firm commitments and timelines in relation to concluded all three areas of discomfort for the workers. And as soon as we would have completed our meeting tomorrow, we will communicate with our members and hopefully that will allay their fears, though they have been let down so many times by their management before.
Rodolph Thomas, Vice President of the Bustamante Industrial Trade Union. Now, the Finance Minister, Favour Williams, says the government is keeping close tabs on the industry impact of the recently imposed special consumption tax on non-alcoholic sweetened beverages. Minister Williams gave the assurance during a recent tour of the Pepsi-Cola Jamaica manufacturing plant.
It helped us to see the magnitude of the production that happens here in Jamaica and helped me to understand as well that the magnitude of the export that happens from this location. So we're going to go back with this new knowledge that we have now and look at what we were asking the industry to do and make changes so that we are not impacting their production. We want Pepsi Jamaica to remain in Jamaica for as long as possible. They provide good jobs, they provide products that the population wants.
Favour Williams, Minister of Finance and the Public Service. The SCT was originally proposed at 2 cents per milliliter for any sugary drink. It applied to all non-alcoholic beverages containing added sugar or other caloric sweeteners, as well as drinks containing artificial or non-nutritive sweeteners, whether carbonated or non-carbonated, and whether produced locally or imported. But following the budget debate, the SCT was changed to 22 cents per gram of sugar. It took effect on May 1, 2026. A Jamaican man has been sentenced to 3 years in a U.S. prison for wire fraud in a lottery scheme that cost an elderly victim more than $600,000. The sentencing was announced by First Assistant U.S. Attorney Charles Neal Floyd. The convicted Jamaican is 34-year-old Andrew Carty. The sentencing was posted to the United States Attorney's Office Western District of Washington website on the weekend. Dana Davey reports.
Andrew Carty was arrested in Jamaica on August 21, 2025. He was extradited to the U.S. and arrived in the Western District of Washington for arraignment on October 23, 2025. He pleaded guilty in February 2026. According to records filed in the case, Carty first contacted the 73-year-old Southwest Washington victim in 2020. He posed as an employee of Publishers Clearinghouse and claimed the victim won $22 million and a car in the lottery, but that she needed to pay taxes and fees to access her winnings. He convinced the victim that the FBI was recording the call and told her that she was not to tell anyone about the big win. Between August 2020 and February 2024, He convinced the victim to send more than $600,000 to various money couriers throughout the United States that ultimately sent the money to Carty in Jamaica. Carty's initial requests for cash were modest, but they gradually increased over time. He reportedly directed the victim to remove small amounts of cash from her accounts and send them to U.S. locations via FedEx. Carty told the victim the money was lost or stolen and demanded more. He told the victim to borrow against her home so she could send more money and convinced the victim to sell her home to cover additional costs and fees to claim her prize. The court heard that the 34-year-old was relentless in contacting the victim using various phone numbers and texting programs. He contacted her thousands of times throughout the fraud. When she tried to cut off contact, he tried sending tow trucks and pizza deliveries and asked her landlord for a welfare check to try to get back in touch with the victim. Special agent in charge of the FBI Seattle Field Office, William Harrington, says Carty relentlessly and cruelly manipulated and intimidated his elderly victim to deprive her of her life savings for his own profit. Ultimately, the victim lost her home without receiving any of the fictitious prize money Carty had promised. Harrington hopes that the case will send a message to would-be lottery scammers that the FBI will work just as relentlessly with their partners to hold fraudsters accountable even when they reside beyond the borders of the United States. Dana Davey for Nationwide News.
And that's it for the local segment of the news. Up next, regional and international.
It's This Morning on Nationwide 90 FM. The time is
6:19.
For 25 years, Digicel has been keeping Jamaica better connected. From late night calls to the texts, clicks, and moments that keep us close. Celebrating 25 years. Digicel, powered by you, connected by us.
In regional and international news this morning, Cuban President Miguel Diaz-Canel has again condemned U.S. sanctions on the country. This following Washington's announcement on Monday that it was imposing sanctions on 11 Cuban officials and Cuba's intelligence agency. In a social media post on X on Tuesday, Diaz-Canel called the move illegal and immoral. He said Cuba would continue to denounce in the firmest and most energetic way possible the genocidal siege that seeks to strangle its people. In his comments, Diaz-Canel pointed to President Donald Trump's executive order that threatens third parties from selling oil to Havana with tariffs, as well as U.S. measures that seek to penalize companies that may want to invest in the country or provide it with basic goods. International, an Ebola outbreak which has killed at least 130 people in the Democratic Republic of Congo may be spreading faster than originally thought. This, according to World Health Organization representative Dr. Anne Ansia, who spoke with the BBC on Tuesday. Ansia says the more the agency investigates, the clearer it becomes that cases have spread to other areas. Officials said more than 513 cases were suspected in DR Congo as of Tuesday, while one person has died in neighboring Uganda. But modeling by the London-based MRC Center for Global Infectious Disease Analysis, released on Monday, suggested there had been substantial underdetection. It says it could not rule out there had already been more than 1,000 cases. WHO Chief Tedros Ghebreyesus says he is deeply concerned about the scale and speed of the epidemic. And that's it for regional and international. Up next, sports.
Super Center, everything for your home and more.
Bring back the fun of shopping. Discover the best finds in every aisle of amazing items. For your kitchen, your living room, your bedroom, or any room, Azan Super Center has that perfect touch to elevate your space to the next level. Our team is ready to help you find what you are looking for you or someone else. So stop by our Crossroads store today and rediscover the fun of shopping.
Ascent Supercenter, it's a lifestyle.
It's a lifestyle.
Attention PATH beneficiaries. The Ministry of Labour and Social Security is advising beneficiaries with surnames S to Z who collect PATH payments through JN Money Services that outstanding payments are now available for collection up to May 28. Affected beneficiaries will receive a text message confirming payment details. Visit your designated JN Money Services location to collect your benefits today. For more information, call PATH at 876-922-8000-13 or visit the Ministry's website mlss.gov.jm. PATH, advancing your family, developing Jamaica.
Time now for your morning sports. Trinidad and Tobago Red Force will start their second innings when play resumes on day 3 of the West Indies Regional Championship Final against Guyana Harpy Eagles at Sir Vivian Richards Stadium in Antigua in 3 hours from now. The Red Force secured first innings points to close day 2 after bowling out the Harpy Eagles for 245 for a 15-run lead. Kima Paul 51, Jonathan Van Ling 46, and Tijaran Shandapol 33 led the chase by the Harpy Eagles as Jaden Seals grabbed 4 for 55 and Terrence Hines 3 for 46. Seals is having a good game for the Red Force after top scoring with an unbeaten 70 in their 260 all-out. The English Premier League title race could be over on Tuesday. Former champions Manchester City are in London for a showdown with Bournemouth at the Vitality Stadium starting at 2 p.m. Jamaica time. City are 5 points behind Arsenal and must win if they are to take the race down to Sunday's final day of the season. Any other result and Arsenal will be crowned champions ahead of their last game of the season against Crystal Palace on Sunday. Meanwhile, West Ham United could be relegated on Tuesday without kicking a ball. Tottenham Hotspur and Chelsea are meeting in a London derby at Stamford Bridge, and a victory for Spurs will see West Ham relegated to England's second tier for next season. Now, Marcus James, father of Jamaica's leading female tennis player, Alyssa James, says based on the preparation leading up to the J500 Milan tournament in Italy, he expects another dominant showing on the circuit. James opened the ongoing tournament in commanding fashion, winning in both singles and doubles. James is currently competing in Europe as part of the international 18 and under A team to Europe, an elite touring team under the Grand Slam Player Development Program.
Well, she had a good training block leading into her European tour. She's based at the Martoglu Academy in Zephyr Hills, Florida, and she had like a 2-week training block that was pretty solid prior to going on the tour.
At 18, James has already climbed to number 42 on the International Tennis Federation World Junior Rankings. According to her father, Marcus, Alyssa is exhibiting talent beyond her years.
No, I think she is, we at the start of the year, we had certain, ranking targets, goal targets, and performance targets for her, and I would say that she has been hitting all of them. She has gotten up to 42 in the world, which is a good accomplishment. That gives her direct entry into all the Grand Slams for this year. So I would say that she's on, if not ahead of target.
Marcus James, wrapping up your morning sports.
For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies including plugs, switches, panel boards and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10, or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business.
In business this morning, investor confidence in the country is recovering following a number of external shocks. That's the assessment of Chief Executive Officer of Barita Investments Limited, Ramon Small Ferguson. He was speaking on CliffViews Online on Monday.
I think investor confidence is still on a road to recovery. There would have been several events over the course of the last several years that have put a bit of a dent in investor confidence. Of course, we saw the onset of the pandemic, and that was coming on after years of improved performances in our stock exchange. We had a record stock market in 2015 and in 2018. And of course, the pandemic came. There was a bit of a damper. We saw a period where interest rates began to rise both significantly and quickly during the 2021 to 2023 or so period. And that also put a bit of a blunt on investor confidence. And of course, in the recent past, we would have seen the terrible effects of Hurricane Melissa, which have had practical implications for investment activity.
He says interest in investing is rebounding.
In the intervening period between that event and now, we've seen one IPO, which was oversubscribed, which is usually an indicator of investor confidence. And from our business perspective, we're seeing people fishing around for opportunities. And there are certainly some opportunities, not only in the stock market, but in the broader investment landscape. You mentioned Jamaica in particular. Jamaica is, from an economic perspective, certainly perceived to be stable, and consequently, there are persons looking for investment opportunities here.
Ramon Small Ferguson, Chief Executive Officer of Barita Investments Limited. Despite challenges faced from Hurricane Melissa, Barita is reporting that net operating revenues for the 6 months ended March 31, 2026 rose 36% to $4.9 billion. That's up from $3.9 billion in the prior year. The improvement was driven by a 50% increase in gains on investment activities and continued growth in net interest income, which nearly tripled in the quarter alone. Banking giant Standard Chartered has become the latest major company to announce job cuts as it increases its adoption of artificial intelligence, AI. The firm, headquartered in the UK, said it will cut more than 15% or around 7,800 of its back office roles by 2030. The BBC is reporting that the bank aims to move some of the affected workers to other roles in the business. The company did not give details of where the roles would be cut. It has major back office operations in India, China, Malaysia, and Poland. In foreign exchange trading now, the Jamaican dollar has gained 47 cents and will open against the benchmark US dollar, selling for an average $158.55. Against the Canadian, the Jamaican has lost 5 cents and will open, selling for an average $115.83. And finally, the Jamaican has lost 26 cents and will begin trading for an average $213.34 against the British pound. That's it for business this morning.
It's This Morning on Nationwide 90 FM. The time is
6:31.
Enough power tool, big to small. Jack on my figure, dig the wall. Upper Total Tools. Weed whacker figure, trim the lawn. We have everything a job demand. Total Tools. We rent them, sell them, and fix them. Also give Total Tools a call. When I say home improvement, landscape construction, a Total Tools are your option. Home improvement, landscape construction, Total Tools are your option.
Total Tools, located at 102 Main Street, Ocho Rios, 34 Slipe Road, Kingston.
And lot C6 Jacksaw, Sentence Bay. Call us today.
Enjoy peace of mind knowing that your hard-earned money is protected by the JDIC. That's right, the JDIC through the Deposit Insurance Scheme guarantees up to $1.2 million of your deposits in commercial banks, merchant banks, and building societies. This means your deposits, such as your savings and checking accounts, are covered. Rest easy knowing that your deposits are secure. Your deposits always protected. For more information, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at JDICJAM or visit our website at www.jdic.org.
JDIC, protecting deposits for you and me.
thoughts and feelings, all corresponding in love, compatible. You can't get around it no matter how hard you try. You better believe it. And if you should find out that you are no different than I, I can see is in the conscience and the shade of the skin. Doesn't matter. We laugh, we chatter, don't we smile? We all have hope in the feelings that make all those faces always renew. So true, and would you believe that I have all those same feelings too? Same as you. We all are one. We are the same person. I believe you. We are same person. You can get it if you really want. You can get it if you really want. You can get it if you really want. But you must try. Try and try, try and try. You'll succeed at last. Again. Persecution you must bear. Win and lose, you've got to get your share. Got your mind set on a dream. You can get it, don't hold it may seem now. You can get it if you really want. You can get it if you really want. You can get it if you really want. But you must try, try and try, try and try. You'll succeed at last.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. A happy Tuesday to you. It is Tuesday, May 19, 2026. Thank you so much for coming on over and joining us this morning. I'm Tawna Thomas. No bother with it.
What did you say? Your name Trauma Thomas? What you say? What you really say?
You know, I think that was my name during our NNN Sound Clash series.
Trauma Thomas?
Some time ago. Yeah. You don't remember Jermaine? There was a funeral program. There was a funeral program, and my picture was on it, and I think I was called Trauma.
You were dubbed the Trauma Thomas?
Trauma Thomas.
Trauma Thomas. No man, that's different thing because the Kitty thing was with us during the cook-off when she and Georgia, when she had a funeral thing, but they did it for her.
They had a funeral.
Yeah. That's what I heard.
Yeah.
That's what I heard.
What a time. We should revisit something like that. Yeah, but on my mind this morning, not a sound clash, but having something to do with sound for sure, George.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to use little imitation skills that I have this morning to start what is on my mind. Sylvester, but I called yesterday. You never see my missed call. And then Sylvester said, no, sir. I never see no missed call. And I say, hold on there. I'm going to call you back. Then I call Kimmy. And I say, I have to call Kimmy up at Top Hill in St. Elizabeth. So I'm soon call you back. And I call Kimmy. Kimmy, you not hear me? Kimmy, hello? Hello? And there's peristatic in the line, George. Kimmy not hear me. They hear beep beep. Call ended. And where am I going with my imitation?
Where
am I going with my imitation this morning? outside of what I just did, let me go to Twitter, George, or X, for some tweets from yesterday. One post on X says, I remember when I could dial a number on my phone and it would just ring. Now you dial a number, it doesn't ring, and if you're lucky, the other party gets a text message saying they missed a call from you, #Jamaica. This has been going on for at least 2 months, both networks. Another says, it's tiring. Almost every single day I make calls. Add to that the sudden drop calls. Been on business calls and have to be calling back 3 or 4 times just to finish a discussion. Another says, you're lucky you can make a call. I'm unable to make or receive calls once I'm at home. Bought a new phone, same issue, no resolution. I'm reachable by WhatsApp only. This one says, it seems to have started since Melissa and has not gotten better for either networks, which causes persons to rely on fixed data to make calls. Then someone responds to that message, that post to say, nope, happening before the storm, just gotten worse. Another says, had to switch from one of my phones from a particular network to the other network because people could only get me occasionally on that particular network. Was missing very important calls, and in my profession, that could mean life or death. Very, very slack, because there was no communication that there were issues with the company. Can I take 2 more? Another says, same, I now have 2 particular network numbers for a year now, and I used to have a single particular network number for years. And then the person says, a particular network is messing up big time. You know, I said to someone just yesterday, is me alone or the network getting worse? One says, person calls, phone doesn't ring. You get a text that you missed the call. You call back, maybe you get them, maybe you don't. They also get a text message saying that they missed your call. You do this all day, it's tiring. 5 missed calls today alone, and all know the phone will ring. And someone says, someone very familiar with us says to one of the posts, frustratingly so. Digicel and Flow, many of your customers are very, very unhappy this morning with the instability in the network in some parts of the island. Calls dropping, static on the line, calls missed, phones not ringing, and missed calls alert being very delayed. Somebody calling you today, you're getting the missed call alert tomorrow. And it has honestly been frustrating, and the experience has gotten worse for some customers after Beryl and now Melissa. For example, in St. Elizabeth, the folks in Cheapside, Top Hill, sections of Southfield, Flaggerman, Barbary Hall, and Fullerswood are having a difficult time with network connection. And that's me itemizing, George, just the areas in my neck of the woods where I've gotten complaints. Now, as I understand it, the Jamaica Public Service Company has restored power to nearly all areas affected by Melissa last October. It was also reported that 70% of the mobile network was knocked offline in the immediate aftermath of Hurricane Melissa. But for example, Digicel said since then it has moved aggressively to restore and reinforce its network, including a US $10 million investment to rebuild its fiber backbone and reduce reliance on a single transmission route. It was reported in March that they had 70% of the mobile network offline on day 1, and within 3 and a bit months, the company brought virtually all of that, 98%, back online. Flow also said in February that its mobile network had been fully restored. Now, for those out there, a mobile network is a wireless communication system that allows your devices, like your smartphones here or your tablets, to make calls, send texts, and connect to the internet while on the move. So if both George telecommunications companies are saying mobile network has been fully restored, something is off, because there's a gap that has resulted in customers being unable to experience stability on the network in some sections of the country. Many of these areas are along the main road and have built up communities, but the connection is poor. The connection is poor and renders sustaining a call, for example, a complete challenge. Like you're on the line with Kimmy and you can't hear what Kimmy has said. What you say? Hello? Hello? Kimmy, you're still there? Pure static. And then the call just cuts off. And it's only fair to ask what is going on and for the two providers to provide a detailed explanation to their customers explaining that. Because clearly, many are frustratingly living with the issues daily, but would really like to hear comprehensively what's going on, what will be the improvements, and when those improvements will be implemented. And where's the Office of Utilities Regulation in this conversation as well? Has the authority been logging the complaints, seeing what's happening online, as I've gone through and skimmed through to see just a few of the messages or posts from people on social media bitterly complaining about the network instability? Has the authority been logging those complaints, and what is it doing about it? Because the service is making many customers miserable and demands a response from all those who can fix it. And I recall in March, following Hurricane Melissa, a couple things being said by the telecom bosses. Stephen Murad at Digicel, for example, said the rebuilding effort was now focused on creating a more resilient system. The company said it had begun constructing a fiber ring around the island, linking major population and economic centers, while also expanding underground infrastructure in critical corridors to reduce exposure to storm damage. He said the approach was aimed at ensuring redundancy in the network, allowing services to remain operational even if one segment is disrupted. But he said even as companies ramped up investment, industry players were pointing to regulatory and policy constraints that were limiting how quickly networks could be expanded. For his part as well, Flow Senior Manager for Government and Regulatory Affairs, Charles Douglas, said delays in securing permits and approvals for infrastructure projects were a major bottleneck, often preventing companies from executing planned investments. Pointing to challenges in obtaining permits for towers and other network infrastructure, he said, you can have a capital plan for the year, but if you can't get approvals to build sites, that investment is delayed or lost. And he said the issue is compounded by broader structural challenges, including flat industry revenues and rising costs, which make it more difficult for telecoms operators to sustain the level of investment required to build resilient networks. A final point he said here, that the money is not the issue globally, but the framework has to support investment and allow companies to generate returns. The key to point out here as well is that Flow benefited from weather money. To put it simply, they were paid US $81 million, which is described as a form of parametric insurance that provides rapid compensation following severe weather events like the kind of Beryl. So there were reports of additional resources, as being pointed out here by the telecoms bosses. The questions are, what has been spent not just on mobile network restoration, but mobile network stability? Because that's the issue. Your calls are dropping. There are missed calls that you're getting the next day that there was a missed call, or you're on the line and it's just pure static. You can't hear what people are trying to tell you. And then there's a moment in time where there is just dead air on the phone line for a couple seconds or so, 10 seconds, 15 seconds, and then the person comes back in. Like for me, George, in St. Elizabeth, I'm talking to a particular person every day, and I know when I reach certain areas, I'm not going to hear anything, but stay on the line, because like 30 seconds after, it's going to pick back up. And that has been the situation with the network. So it's not just about the restoration, it's about the stability with your phone calls. So I'm asking, what has been spent on mobile network connectivity improvements and expansion that the new towers being mentioned here? Both point to bottlenecks in obtaining permits for towers and infrastructure construction or expansion. What has been their experience with this since Melissa in their efforts to give us better service? How wide scale has that effort been beyond the general restoration response in the aftermath of the storm? Listen, I believe this morning that customers are owed an explanation and a clear roadmap in problem spots, like the Top Hill and the Barbary Hall and all the areas I'm itemizing out of St. Elizabeth and everywhere else in the country that people, customers from both telecoms companies are having these challenges. I believe we deserve, not they, me too, deserve an explanation and a clear roadmap about these problem spots and how the providers are working to improve the network or what they intend to do to bring forth that improvement, because we're simply tired of our calls dropping. And that's what's on my mind.
It's This Morning on Nationwide 90 FM. The time is
6:49.
JPS and Partners Cooperative Credit Union offers financial solutions for every stage in your life: savings, auto loans, mortgages, and more. The Temperature by JPS and Partners Cooperative Credit Union, your financial partner for life, is
27 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 26 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 22 degrees Celsius in Mandeville.
Morning after morning, you've made Nationwide 90 FM part of your routine. So let's take this connection one step closer. Join the Nationwide 90 FM Family Club and be part of it officially on Patreon.
Family, I miss that family.
Friend of ours from the Turks and Caicos Islands just messaged to say, even here too,
Yeah.
same experience.
Yeah.
I know that at least one of the Stevens listens to this program, Stephen Murad. So
Somebody
the boss
says,
would have heard.
Somebody says, I think it's Bali. Bali says, call drop in every country, Tana, duh. That's not my point of saying if you have, a random call drop here or there. But this has been a consistent problem for a while.
Even our program here.
And a Bali is somebody who watches NTM
Every
almost
morning.
every
Yeah,
day.
so would I
You should
understand.
know at a certain time of the morning, you can expect, hello, you're still there?
Yeah.
All right, we're going to try to get back that
There you
person.
go.
The call drop.
Anyway, one call that didn't drop is the call to Ludlow McLean for Street Smarts One, King says let's soap. Good morning, Ludlow.
I was just going to say that it has happened quite a few times,
There you go.
Joe, I'm not getting Ludlow, I'm not hearing him properly. All right, there you go. The situation, though, depending on where you are, so far, smooth sailing along Bay Farm Road, traffic is moving, going across to Newark, going across to Keysing. It's a bit busy there, but it's good movement there. If you're down the 3 miles area going up Hagley Park Road, it's a steady flow of stream all the way up to Hagley Park Road, all the way up to Maxfield and then on to Eastwood Park Road. So it's not, but going around Southwood Avenue though, you're going to notice a bit of, because Constant Spring has a lot of traffic already going through Half a Tree Square, and Half a Tree Road also has traffic quite a little bit. It's a little bit different from yesterday, and so as a result, you're going to find vehicles making it onto Oxford Road, also Chelsea Avenue, and even going further down towards Beechwood Avenue and into Crossroads. Those areas are building at the moment, but it intensifies later as the morning progresses. So it's our first report for the morning, and I should say it's bright but not sunny as compared to the same time yesterday morning. So it's over to you, George.
Thank you, Ludlow there with Street Smarts One. Up next, word of the day.
Your word of the day is spelled W-H-I-L-O-M, spelled W-H-I-L-O-M.
Quilum. Quilum. Quilum.
Quilum is the pronunciation of our word of the day, spelled again W-H-I-L-O-M, and it's an adjective and it means simply former. At one time, quilum is your word of the day. Dictionary.com telling us that the word is before 900.
Oh.
So quilum.
Dang.
It does sound like a really,
That's right.
really, really old word.
Yes.
So quilum is your word of the day. To use it in a sentence, she pointedly ignored the quilum friends who had turned on her.
Mm-hmm.
The former friends, the one-time friends who had turned on her. So quilum is your word of the day. Spelt again, W-H-I-L-O-M. Up next are features at the top of the hour, the news.
Guava is an impressive nutritional powerhouse packed with antioxidants, vitamin C, potassium, and fiber. This incredible combination of nutrients delivers a wide range of health benefits. On Food for Thought today, we're slicing into one of nature's overachievers, guava, and uncovering why it deserves a place in your diet. Wrapped in a neat green or yellow skin, guava contains juicy vitamin pulp and crunchy edible seeds. But the benefits don't stop there. Even its leaves boast powerful medicinal properties that can enhance your well-being. Just one guava provides 250% of your daily vitamin C needs. That's like eating an orange on steroids. Plus, it's loaded with vitamin A, potassium, iron, calcium, and fiber. Let's break down its top health benefits. Guava's antioxidants and fiber help regulate blood sugar. Guava leaf tea, in particular, has been shown to reduce post-meal sugar spikes by over 10%. For those managing diabetes, guava is a must. Looking after your heart, guavas help lower bad cholesterol, regulate blood pressure, and provide potassium and fiber for optimal heart function. Plus, their antioxidants protect against free radical damage. Ladies, take note. Guava leaf extract has been found to significantly reduce menstrual cramps thanks to its powerful anti-inflammatory properties. A natural remedy, no pharmacy trip required. One guava delivers 12% of your daily fiber needs, making it a natural digestive aid that keeps things moving. The bonus? Guava leaf extract fights bad gut bacteria, helps with diarrhea, and improves overall digestion. At just 37 calories per fruit, guavas make for the perfect guilt-free snack. Their high fiber content helps curb cravings and keeps you full longer, making them a great addition to any weight loss plan. Early research suggests guava leaf extract may inhibit the growth of cancer cells. Some studies even indicate guava leaf oil could be 4 times more potent than certain cancer drugs. While research is ongoing, guava's rich antioxidant content is promising. With twice the daily recommended intake of vitamin C, guavas are a powerhouse for your immune system. They help stimulate white blood cell production, keeping infections at bay. Guavas aren't just great for your health, they work wonders for your skin too. Their antioxidants help combat signs of aging, while guava leaf extracts fight acne-causing bacteria. The result? A natural glow inside and out. Guava, more than just a fruit. Guavas aren't just a delicious snack, they're a lifestyle upgrade. From balancing blood sugar and supporting heart health, to improving digestion and enhancing your skin, this tropical superfruit is as functional as it is flavorful. That's it for Food for Thought. Until next time.
Fearless and fair, Nationwide 90 FM.
There are 3 phases or parts to a meeting. 1, before the meeting. 2, during the meeting. And 3, after the meeting. This is Lifestyle Pages on how to plan and have effective meetings. Before the meeting. The chairperson of the meeting must 1, communicate or define the purpose or goal of the meeting. 2, develop an agenda with the key participants. Examine the sample agenda to get an idea of what is placed in the agenda. Distribute the agenda. Circulate background material, lengthy documents, and articles before or prior to the meeting so members will be prepared and feel involved and up to date. 4, choose an appropriate meeting time. Set a time limit and stick to it. People will attend meetings if you make them productive, predictable, and as short as possible. 5, arrange the room so that members face each other. Examples, like in a circle or semicircle. For large groups, arrange the seats in a U-shaped formation. 6, choose a room or space suitable for the group size. Small rooms create tension. A larger room is more comfortable and encourages individual expression. 7. Post a large copy of the agenda in front of which members can refer. Use visual aids like posters, diagrams, etc. for interest. 8. Be sure everyone knows the meeting place and venue and when the next meeting will be held. I'm Valerie, and those were Lifestyle Pages.
Nationwide 90 FM, continuing the tradition of fair, fearless, and factual reporting.
Distracted driving costs lives. Keep your eyes on the road and arrive alive. The time brought to you by the Jamaica Information Service is...
News time, 7 o'clock.
The most credible news in the morning. The news at 7 on Nationwide 90 FM.
Coming up in the news at 7 today, Tuesday, May 19, 2026, new World Bank catastrophe bond provides Jamaica with $200 million hurricane insurance coverage. Finance Minister says close to $70 billion have been allocated for projects as part of Hurricane Melissa rebuilding effort. JFJ says police fatal shooting of woman in Granville, St. James proves the need for body-worn cameras. And in international news, 34-year-old Neymar is named in Brazil's FIFA World Cup squad.
If it's news, it's got to be Nationwide 90 FM.
Now to the details. The World Bank has priced a new catastrophe bond providing Jamaica with $200 million in hurricane insurance coverage. That's equivalent to 32 billion Jamaican dollars. The new instrument is $50 million more than the previous bond, which delivered a full payout following Hurricane Melissa in October 2025. The transaction was oversubscribed by capital market investors, allowing it to be sized beyond its initial target amount. The bond is the third World Bank catastrophe bond structured for Jamaica, building on transactions completed in 2021 and 2024. It provides a payout on pre-agreed parametric thresholds based on a storm's path and intensity. It unlocks rapid financial support for the government without the delays typical of traditional insurance claims. The bond is issued under the International Bank for Reconstruction and Development's AAA Capital at-Risk Notes program. Under the structure, the World Bank issues the bond to investors and simultaneously enters into a risk transfer agreement with the government. Jamaica pays a premium based on pricing achieved in the capital markets in exchange for prearranged access to funds following qualifying hurricane events. The instrument also forms part of Jamaica's broader multi-layered disaster risk management strategy, sitting alongside budget reserves, contingent credit facilities, and traditional insurance. The bond comes just ahead of the New Atlantic hurricane season set to begin in 2 weeks' time on June 1. Finance Minister Favour Williams says nearly $70 billion have already been directed by the government towards various projects under the Hurricane Melissa rebuilding effort. She was responding to criticism of the government's handling of the $1.4 billion in donations it has received for the recovery effort, with the Auditor General noting that up to early April, only $26 million of the sum have already been spent.
We ought not to forget that the government allocated approximately $67 billion for hurricane spending, for relief, for recovery, for reconstruction. That's a significant number. Yes, donations came in to an account that was set up, and we are extremely happy for the donation. However, as you heard from ODPEM, those funds that have come in as donation have to be carefully handled.
Director General of the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management, ODPEM, Commander Alvin Gale, says the $1.4 billion in donated funds are intended to support national relief interventions which form part of the Shelter Recovery Program. Minister Williams says the pace of spending will likely be far advanced the next time the Auditor General reports on the real-time tracking of the management of the funds.
You've already heard from the Prime Minister that it will be spent on at least in the first stage, building the base for the modular houses. When next the Auditor General looks at it, we'll be able to point to specifically what it was spent. It would be a totally different conversation if we had taken those donations into the consolidated fund and spent it generally. Even if we spent it on recovery and reconstruction, we may not have been able to point one-to-one, saying we got this dollar from donation and here's where it's spent, because the consolidated fund, there's no earmarking, there's no ring fencing when funds come into the consolidated fund.
Favour Williams, Finance Minister. Former Deputy Commissioner of Police in charge of crime Mark Shields is urging the public to await the findings of the probe into Sunday's controversial killing by the police of a woman in Granville, St. James. Shields, the managing director of Shields Crime and Security Consultants, says notwithstanding the deeply troubling nature of a video of the incident, which has been making the rounds on social media, it's unwise to draw conclusions at this time.
I think that, however concerning these images appear to be, the video we have seen lasts for about 10 seconds. We do not know what preceded that incident. We need to let Indicom do precisely what they do, which is to conduct a full, fair and transparent investigation. We don't know what happened prior to that, so I can't really comment on that. It looks terrible, but we have to allow the authorities, mainly Indicom, to do their job thoroughly, quickly, and bring some closure to the community one way or the other, because you saw the images, as you said. They are very harrowing, very, very harrowing indeed.
The incident, captured on CCTV, resulted in the death of 43-year-old Latoya Bulgin, otherwise called Buju. The footage shows the moment the vehicle being driven by Bulgin lurches towards a policeman. It also captures the moment the policeman fires his weapon in the direction of the driver's side of the vehicle. Shields says the way the woman was handled by the police after the shooting incident leaves much to be desired.
If you think about anything, whether it's a road traffic accident or a fatal shooting or any other incident, the principle of the police is to save life, to preserve life. Preserving life and property are the fundamental issues around policing. There was no attempt. Well, these people are not doctors, admittedly, but there was no attempt. They presumed, I assume, that she was dead by the way she was dragged from the vehicle, dragged along the footway or the road, and then thrown to the back of a police vehicle. There was no attempt to conduct any first aid at all. And we can hide around where they're not doctors. No, they're certainly not doctors, but they could perhaps do more than they did, because even by doing that, even if the woman was still alive and had been hit by a bullet, which at the moment I do not know, but we'll make that assumption, it may have been that dragging her along like that may have made the injury even worse. They can't judge if somebody is dead or alive.
Mark Shields, former Deputy Commissioner of Police in charge of crime. Shields was the Managing Director of Shields Crime and Security Consultants, was speaking on Nationwide at 5 on Monday. Meanwhile, Executive Director of Jamaicans for Justice, JFJ, Michael Jackson, says the video highlights the need for greater use by the police of body-worn cameras.
Correct. It's impatient of the date. I think we have to look to ensuring that there is fast tracking of the body-worn cameras, and when they are actually here, the utilization of the body-worn cameras, that is something that we have to pay close attention to, as well as reviewing the policies governing the body-worn cameras in terms of activation and so on, and what disciplinary procedures are put in place if an officer fails to activate it without a justified reason.
Jackson says there are serious questions about whether the actions of the policemen involved in the shooting incident were indeed justified.
Given that the investigation is still undergoing, we don't know what happened before, and we have to be careful in our pronouncements. Having said that, however, there is enough in the video for us to take pause and to raise concerns about whether or not the use of lethal force was proportionate to the threat that the officer faced. And with the absence of the body-worn cameras not being able to give us the information, that independent account, because when you look again at all the CCTV footage, the hand, the angle, and so on, it doesn't give you the full account, which is why the body-worn cameras are so important.
Michael Jackson, Executive Director of JFJ. Meanwhile, MP for West Central St. James, Marlene Malahoo Fort, is urging residents to remain calm and allow due process to take its course. The community of Granville, where the shooting incident happened on Sunday, is part of the constituency.
My message to my constituents is to stay on the right side of the law, let the law take its course, because what has unfolded so far, I believe, will invite a lot of reflection in every relevant part of government, and I'm hoping that we will not miss the opportunity that this crisis has provided.
On Sunday, residents of Granville blocked roads and set fire to debris in protest at the killing by the police of 43-year-old Latoya Bulgin, otherwise called Buju. Malahoo Fort is commending those residents who've come forward to assist with the investigation.
The investigation by Indicom has proceeded swiftly, and I want to say a big thank you to all citizens who have come forward, who have cooperated, who have given statements, and I also want to thank those who have made the camera footage and other video recordings available to the investigators.
Marlene Malahoo Fort, MP for West Central St. James. President of the All Voice Taxi Association, Lorraine Finucane, says his members are satisfied with the timeline given by Transport Minister Daryl Vaz to implement the long-awaited 16% fare increase. He was speaking on Nationwide at 5 on Monday.
We are satisfied with the timeline. We are satisfied on the basis that, one, we have been engaging with the Minister on several occasions, even since 2026, as it relates to the 16%. We had face-to-face with him on the 11th of March, and we have a Zoom meeting with him 2 weeks later. And in each of those meetings, he made their commitments and recommitted for us to get it in June. Today is the first we have gotten a definite date, which is the first it will go to Cabinet. And after Cabinet, now we'll hear two things. One, the date we'll be getting it, and if we'll be getting it in full or in transit.
The government approved a 35% fare increase in October 2023. However, only a 19% component was implemented. The additional 16% was set for implementation in April 2024. However, due to high inflation, the fare adjustment was not made. During a stakeholders meeting on Monday, Minister Vaz said a submission on the increase will go to Cabinet on June 1. Finucane says assurances from both Minister Vaz and the Finance Minister Favour Williams are welcomed.
Based on that, in addition to the fact that he brought the finance minister with him to speak with us directly, and both of them explained to us some of these things that are presently affecting the economy as it relates to the Middle East and the gas crisis. And we take them into serious consideration. Look at the fact that 1st of June is 2 weeks from now. Look at the fact that we didn't hear an announcement on the radio. They came to us directly and have face-to-face with us. They engaged with us. So we are satisfied with the approach both ministers of government take, and we are willing to wait until the 1st of June.
Lorraine Finucane, President of the All Voice Taxi Association. The Bustamante Industrial Trade Union, BITU, and the Jamaica Teachers Association, JTA, are set to meet today, Tuesday, May 19, to discuss ongoing wage concerns of some workers. The move comes as several JTA workers took to the streets on Monday to protest over outstanding payments. BITU Vice President Roddy Thomas spoke with our news center.
It is likely that they may consider escalating that. So whilst they would have had a sit-in today, it could be that that becomes escalated to a full-blown strike action if the matter is not addressed. I think it's prudent to share with you though that subsequent to today's demonstration, the BITU has been contacted by the management of the JTA and they have requested a meeting at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. As we understand it, that meeting should seek to treat with the beginning of the consultation process for the implementation of the market realignment survey as well as negotiations for the outstanding period.
The BITU represents several categories of JTA workers. These include security, ancillary, accounting, and clerical staff. The union says the dispute arose from the JTA's failure to provide details surrounding the calculation of incremental and seniority salary increases from 2017 to the present, citing several discrepancies. According to the union, the situation has worsened due to management's failure to conclude wage and fringe benefits negotiations for the period 2024 to 2026. Additionally, the BITU says there have been delays in engagement between itself and the JTA management to implement a market realignment exercise which was to have taken effect from 2024. Thomas says he anticipates the BITU will leave the meeting with clear timelines to provide answers to its members.
What we are looking for coming out of that meeting is firm commitments and timelines in relation to concluded all three areas of discomfort for the workers. And as soon as we would have completed our meeting tomorrow, we will communicate with our members, and hopefully that will allay their fears, though they have been let down so many times by their management before.
That's Roddy Thomas, Vice President of the Bustamante Industrial Trade Union. The Finance Minister Favour Williams says the government is keeping close tabs on the industry impact of the recently imposed Special Consumption Tax (SCT) on non-alcoholic sweetened beverages. Minister Williams gave the assurance during a recent tour of the Pepsi-Cola Jamaica manufacturing plant.
It helped us to see the magnitude of the production that happens here in Jamaica, and helped me to understand as well that the magnitude of the export that happens from this location. So we're going to go back with this new knowledge that we have now and look at what we were asking the industry to do and make changes so that we are not impacting their production. We want Pepsi Jamaica to remain in Jamaica for as long as possible. They provide good jobs, they provide products that the population wants.
Favour Williams, Minister of Finance and the Public Service. The SCT was originally proposed at 2 cents per milliliter for any sugary drink. It applied to all non-alcoholic beverages containing added sugar or other caloric sweeteners, as well as drinks containing artificial or non-nutritive sweeteners, whether carbonated or non-carbonated, and whether produced locally or imported. But following the budget debate, the SCT was changed to 22 cents per gram of sugar. It took effect on May 1, 2026. And an early jump to international news because got it. Here we go. An Ebola outbreak overseas. An Ebola outbreak which has killed at least 130 people in the Democratic Republic of Congo may be spreading faster than originally thought. That's according to the World Health Organization's representative, Dr. Anne Ansia, who spoke with the BBC on Tuesday. Dr. Ansia says the more the agency investigates, the clearer it becomes that cases have spread to other areas. Officials say more than 513 cases were suspected in the DR Congo as of Tuesday, while one person has died in neighboring Uganda. But modeling by the London-based MRC Center for Global Infectious Disease Analysis, released on Monday, suggests there had been substantial underdetection. It says it could not rule out there had already been more than 1,000 cases. WHO Chief Tedros Ghebreyesus says he's deeply concerned about the scale and speed of the epidemic. Now to that story concerning the Brazil's World Cup squad, and Neymar, the 34-year-old, has been named to the Brazil World Cup squad for the FIFA World Cup in the US, Mexico, and the United States. The full Brazil squad reads Alisson from Liverpool, Ederson from Fenerbahce, Weverton from Grêmio. The defenders are Wesley from Roma, Danilo from Flamengo, Alex Sandro from Flamengo, Douglas Santos from Zenit St. Petersburg, Marquinhos from PSG, Gabriel Magalhaes from Arsenal, Bremer from Juventus, Ibanez from Al Ahly, Leo Pereira from Flamengo. The midfielders are Casemiro from Manchester United, Bruno Guimaraes from Newcastle, Fabinho from Al Ittihad, Danilo Santos from Botafogo, and Lucas Paqueta from Flamengo. The forwards now, Luis Enrique from Zenit, Endrick from Lyon, Rafinha from Barcelona, Neymar from Santos, Mateus Cunha from Manchester United, Igor Thiago from Brentford, Gabriel Martinelli from Arsenal, Ryan from Bournemouth, and Real Madrid's Vinicius Jr. There is no place for the Chelsea forward, João Pedro. That's the news.
Sign up for the JN Money Card. It's safe, convenient, and free. The time by JN Money is
7:18.
Rent or buy your hurricane supplies from Total Tools. Visit 102 Main Street, Ocho-Rios, 34 Slipe Road, Kingston 5, or Lot C6, Drax Hall, St. Anne's Bay. The temperature brought to you by Total Tools Jamaica is
27 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 26 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 24 degrees Celsius in Mandeville.
Are you looking for a day filled with flowers, fresh air, and fun? Then get ready. A celebration of nature and everything beautiful is coming your way. The Manchester Horticultural Society presents Nature Restored, Monday, May 25 at the Manchester Horticultural Showgrounds, Ward Avenue, Mandeville, Manchester, from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Come and enjoy educational sessions, exciting prizes and surprises, and the most beautiful botanical displays. Admission $1,000. Children under 12 free. That's Nature Restored. Come and experience the beauty.
Time now for Street Smarts 2 with Ludlow McLean. Good morning again, Ludlow.
Morning again, motorists. Good morning, George, and to the motoring public, and everyone tuned in at this time. Just to tell you that Spanish Stone Road, at this time we're really busy. If you're coming out of Weymouth Drive on Spanish Stone Road, 6 miles to 3 miles, really bumper to bumper. 3 miles, I did say, going up Prague, same thing. However, coming down Marcus Garvey, right after that, the overpass here, along Marcus Garvey Drive, has built up significantly. But once you clear the vicinity of the Tinsican Zone, is a stream of vehicles flowing towards Water Lane, and it's no delays there. It's moving steadily all the way towards Harbour Street, and Harbour Street has some build up, but it is moving also. On the opposite end, if you're coming from Michael Manley Boulevard, is also a stream of traffic heading along Port Royal and going further out towards Marcus Garvey Drive. But I am surprised not to bumper to bumper. Maybe the traffic might increase later as the morning progresses. Camp Road, South Camp Road also has steady movement going all the way up to join Camp Road, and also steady movement again from Camp Road going around to Marasca Road, and from there via Caledon. And you also see a number of vehicles flowing along America, that halfway also brings traffic there. So there we go, our second report for the morning. Urge you, lane properly. Remember, the wing mirrors are split. And as usual, we want to say, at Street Smart, your safety, all concerned. Good, George.
Thank you, Ludlow. Ludlow there with Street Smarts 2. Up next, front page. Front Page is brought to you today by ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business. For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies, including plugs, switches, panel boards, and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer, and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10, or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business.
Welcome back to Nationwide this morning. You're now tuned into our discussion segment, The Front Page. Now, Finance Minister Fayval Williams says nearly $70 billion have already been directed by the government towards various projects under the Hurricane Melissa rebuilding effort. She was responding to criticism of the government's handling of the $1.4 billion in donations it has received for the recovery effort, with the Auditor General noting that up to early April, only $26 million of the sum have already been spent.
We ought not to forget that the government allocated approximately $67 billion for hurricane spending, for relief, for recovery, for reconstruction. That's a significant number. Yes, donations came in to an account that was set up, and we are extremely happy for the donation. However, as you heard from ODPEM, those funds that have come in as donation have to be carefully handled.
Fayval Williams, Minister of Finance and the Public Service, Director General of the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management, ODPEM, Commander Alvin Gale, says the $1.4 billion in donated funds are intended to support national relief interventions, which form part of the Shelter Recovery Program. Minister Williams says that the pace of spending will likely be far advanced the next time the Auditor General reports on the real-time tracking of the management of the funds. The question is, does ODPEM have the capacity to manage Hurricane Melissa funds? We're being joined this morning for that conversation by Social Transformation Specialist Damian Hilton. Good morning to you.
Top of the morning to you, Tana, George, and your listeners, and viewers. Morning.
Thank you so much for joining us here on Nationwide this morning. Let's begin here, Damian, to get your initial reaction to the news from the Auditor General's report that only $26 million of that $1.4 billion in donations had been spent at the time of the audit.
Well, I think we need to start with the positives. The fact that the Auditor General and her team could have conducted a real-time audit of the process of the management of the funds received, and its spend is good, and it tells us that the architecture that we have in relation to oversight is actually better than many people want to make it seem. So commendations to the Auditor General and her team. Now to the specific issue of the spend, I think all of us as Jamaicans would have hoped that more resources would have been used to date. But then when you look at the context in which this audit is being done, it is specifically dealing with the donated funds. So the monies that would have been donated through the platform created for persons in the diaspora, Jamaicans and others to support. I think those funds in particular have to be treated with extreme care, because we're talking about monies that are donated, and there are strictures around how those monies have to be accounted for and managed. Notwithstanding, I think more could have been spent, and I think the report itself speaks to some issues in terms of the overall fiscal management of these resources, where they're situated in terms of financial institution, the arrangement to move the money from the financial institution to ODPEM, issues related to the overall governance within ODPEM and the financial management. And those issues predate the Hurricane Melissa response. They go as far back as, I think, our Auditor General report that was presented in 2024 about a lot of things internal to ODPEM that would affect the organization's ability to carry out its functions effectively. So I think when you put all of those things into context, those of us who are following the issues may not be very surprised at how much money has been spent, but we would want to know that there are plans put in place going forward to ensure that these monies are, one, properly accounted for, two, spent directly to benefit those who have been impacted by the hurricane, and three, that we're going to get value for money at the end of the day.
But what would you say to the finance minister's comment yesterday that, listen, there is this money, it has been earmarked to do the basis for these modular homes that the government will be setting up for persons affected by Hurricane Melissa. But that aside, that the government, since Hurricane Melissa, has spent $70 billion on recovery efforts. So money is being spent, really.
Yeah, no, obviously money is being spent. And, in a situation like the one that we're dealing with post-Hurricane Melissa, there's a kind of, you can never spend enough. The problem that we have, there are several things here. One, I think there's a communication challenge. If the Auditor General's report, did not come out and indicate where we are in terms of these donated funds, would we have been hearing that, $70 billion has been spent and an explanation? I think the responsibility of the state is to communicate effectively with Jamaicans, people in the diaspora, who have an interest in our recovery. These things could have been communicated beforehand to indicate that this is where we are in terms of current spend. These are the funds that have been earmarked. This is what the hurricane relief donations will go towards, even though we may not have been spending at a pace that we'd like to. And this is where funds outside of those donations are being used to support hurricane relief. Because clearly, 26 million could not be the only monies that have been invested in Jamaica's recovery process. But communication, I think, was not where it could be. And to be hearing it now, many people might be skeptic hearing it now as opposed to hearing it before, and hearing it continuously, so that it is riveted in the minds of all who have interest in Jamaica's reconstruction and redevelopment.
Should we have been further down the wicket, Damien, in terms of ODPEM's response to Hurricane Melissa and the recovery efforts and the spend from this donation? And do they have the capacity to do it?
Well, in the first instance, we would want to be further down the wicket, but the process, and in my capacity as a social transformation specialist, I have appreciation that, when we're dealing with disasters, you have phased approaches to the response. The government has coined it as a relief, recovery, and then reconstruction kind of effort. So in the first phase of the process, the relief process, we saw many different players, stakeholders, civil society, our entertainment industry, the government, our international development partners, many people coming in and providing different support in the immediate aftermath of the hurricane. That was relief, right? And then once we were able to clear the way, get JPS in, restore light, deal with the road pathways, then you could get to recovery. We are perhaps in between full recovery and reconstruction. And that, I think, sometimes in the minds of people, we're forgetting that we dealt with a Category 5+ hurricane that did damage that we have never seen before in some of these places. This is a 5 to 10 year recovery effort. So from that perspective, I think we're not necessarily way behind. The problem is you have people who have been affected by the hurricane that, every day without the kind of, shelter and reconstruction is a day too long. So how do you balance that? You need an organization to coordinate. And ODPEM's role really is to coordinate emergency management and disaster preparedness efforts. We have seen from the Auditor General in her previous report on the organization that the organization had many internal issues. And perhaps at this point in time, the organization was not in the position in terms of being a robust and fully staffed with the competent people organization to effectively drive that coordination. The Prime Minister moved ODPEM from the Ministry of Local Government, brought it into OPM. They changed the head of the organization. Now, these were some changes I would imagine to, help with overall organizational leadership and so, but that doesn't change some of the internal issues. And I use the reference, it's like changing your tire on a moving vehicle. I don't think anybody has ever seen anybody change a tire on a moving vehicle. But that is almost the scenario that ODPEM found itself in with Hurricane Melissa, where they have internal issues, things that the Auditor General had recommended in terms of fixing some of those issues when having to deal with this massive hurricane response, something that they've never had to deal with before, managing resources that they may never have had to manage before, new leadership and all of that. So there are some governance and structural issues with ODPEM that may not make it necessarily right now fit for purpose to effectively deliver all that needs to be done. But they don't have to do all that needs to be done. What they need to do is be a coordinating force
And hold the point on the coordinating force, Damon, while we take a break and come back with you.
Jamaica live good, yeah. I make we enjoy life, what we feel safe at night. Jamaica live good.
Jamaica, stop the killing and give up the guns. Just live good now.
The time brought to you by the Ministry of National Security and Peace is
7:33. For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies including plugs, switches, panel boards and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer, and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10, or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business.
For 25 years, Digicel has been keeping Jamaica better connected. From late night calls to the texts, clicks, and moments that keep us close.
Hi, babes.
A network built in Jamaica for Jamaicans. But connection has never been just about the network. It's about the people behind every hello.
Yo, my general. Wagwan.
Celebrating 25 years. Digicel, powered by you, connected by us.
Welcome back to Nationwide this morning, having a conversation about the capacity of ODPEM to manage Hurricane Melissa funds. On the line, social transformation specialist Damien Hilton. Welcome back, Damien.
Yeah, thanks, Donna.
So you were speaking to the issue, right, of ODPEM perhaps not being fit for purpose to manage or coordinate such a response with so much money.
Right. So given the magnitude of the impact of Melissa and what it will require, the organization, with all the issues that were previously identified by the Auditor General about ODPEM itself, may not be in its best position to drive it. However, coordination is key. This requires local level coordination. We're talking about the local authorities and their critical involvement in the response to on the road to rebuilding and recovery, full recovery. We're talking about the local Ministry of Local Government, obviously the municipal corporations, and then the Ministry of Labor and Social Security. That coordination effort has to be driven by ODPEM because of their technical background and expertise. But we're dealing with people here, and we're dealing with communities. And that is where the local authorities and that is where the Ministry of Labor and Social Security come in with their ROOFs program and other programs. That coordination on the ground to ensure that we are identifying which communities are most affected, which parishes need what, how much resources from donations and other resources will be designated to which parishes, which development areas, which communities, and we are very granular in this kind of identification of beneficiaries because you want to be able to communicate effectively with donors, in the international development partners, and the people themselves on the ground. So I think aspects of the Hurricane Melissa response project can sit within ODPEM, right? Which I kind of see that's where the government seems to be going because the NARA bill and NARA itself seems to be being positioned to be able to drive some of the efforts and take some of the burden away from ODPEM. ODPEM can deal with aspects. NARA is going to deal with aspects. ODPEM coordinates with the local authorities, with the Ministry of Labor, with through the SDC, the community-based organizations that exist and are working very closely with these spaces to ensure that no gap is there in terms of meeting the needs of those who have been affected. I think that is where ODPEM can be effective. The big spend that is demanded has to be decentralized. You cannot centralize the spending because that in itself creates a bottleneck. What was done right was centralizing the donations because that would have helped even the Auditor General with her audit trail to ensure that she can find where how much money was donated, where the money is, and so on. So the government got it right in centralizing that. And one of the things that we must appreciate as a country is that we don't get any indication from the report that the money is missing. The money is there, which is good in the environment in which we exist. The fact that the money is there, and I get the impression now, having heard from the Minister of Finance and also from Senator Marlon Morgan, that the monies have been earmarked. It should have been nice if those designations were clearly articulated before, so that in the Auditor General's report, the money not spent, she could have indicated, her team could have indicated that although not spent, they were earmarked, and they have documentation to show a plan on how those monies would have been spent. That would have been good to have known before the report.
Mm-hmm. You know, I'm listening to you, and I'm recalling what I was sounding off on yesterday, and I'm happy that there is no daylight between the positions that we both are, that you are taking now, and that which I took yesterday about ODPEM's capacity. You say though that you believe that when NARA becomes operationalized, that there will be certain pressures or demands, requirements, which ODPEM carries now, is obliged to do, that with NARA becoming fully operationalized, ODPEM will no longer have that responsibility, leaving it in a position to do what it does best, which is to coordinate and to manage supply chains and logistics, which of course the leader, Commander Gale, is an expert in. What gives you the confidence, though, that this will happen, and it won't be here 6 months from now talking about billions underspent?
Well, I mean, the fact that I acknowledge that this may be a direction that the government is seeking to go in based on all that I've seen with the introduction of NARA doesn't mean that I can say that I'm confident that everything that needs to happen will happen. The ODPEM itself is an organization that needs to go through some internal change and transformation. It's difficult to do that while at the same time responding to what we're responding to post-Hurricane Melissa. So you're dealing with two realities there. What I think, though, is that based on the Auditor General's report and her recommendations in the report, it will demand a certain kind of response, a projectized response, perhaps, where internally they look at what their capacity is and where there are gaps in terms of internal capacity. They move very quickly to try and fill those gaps. Also look at some of the issues in relation to governance and financial.
Well, let me give you this one. Well, not even you, because you know the report. Just for the benefit of the listeners, the Auditor General found that ODPEM failed to provide information showing the total amount collected and spent following Hurricane Beryl. But perhaps it is the Beryl gathering of funds was not as coordinated as Melissa certainly was, because of course they would have learned lessons from Beryl and applied them to Melissa. But that's what she said about the failure to provide information showing the total amount collected and spent, making it impossible to determine whether the remaining balances reflected ongoing projects or failures in program execution. She also found that ODPEM did not have in place a formal agreement with the Financial Services Institution governing the retention of 30% of net donations for 45 days to cover potential bank chargebacks. She also found that other deficiencies relating to missing beneficiary selection criteria, absence of documented approval processes, all of those things. So I'm saying, we both are saying that ODPEM's structure needs support as it is now. And this day in sports, it needs support. Would you say that that support must be given now, or wait for NARA to become operationalized, and then the dovetailing of both those entities will create a situation where NARA's strengths balances out ODPEM's weaknesses, and then the relationship between those two going forward provides the structure that is needed to manage this process going forward, or fix ODPEM, and when NARA comes, the dovetailing still happens and we move forward? What are you saying?
No, the fix of ODPEM is a continuous effort filling critical vacant positions, establishing pre-approved disaster expenditure framework, one of the things missing based on the Auditor General report, creating a functional National Disaster Fund Committee, another thing mentioned in the report. These things are not contingent on NARA. These things are things that must happen. In fact, the legislation that makes them what they are requires it, right? So we have to move assiduously on that post-haste. The structural changes that we're talking about, which are ongoing, requires also a kind of clear understanding in terms of NARA and NARA's function, and ODPEM and how ODPEM will work in the context of NARA, bearing in mind that NARA is not intended to be an everlasting entity, that NARA will have an end date. So, to your point, NARA's operations and how NARA will function can aid in the process of the restructuring of ODPEM, giving some breathing room. But we can't wait for NARA to come up to start the work with ODPEM. That's a start now.
Well, all right, but all right, let me take it up further. If it is that, well, we all know NARA has a sunset end. It will end after a certain time. That's a fact. Given the changes that ODPEM need at this time, why fill posts and plug gaps in the existing structure if NARA is going to expire in a certain time? Why not collapse the necessary aspects of NARA into ODPEM over a certain time and fill out the structure, given that what NARA is set up to do is to support ODPEM as it is? Reconcile that for me if you can.
I think because disaster preparedness and emergency management is not only a post-Hurricane Melissa reality. It is an ongoing reality, especially given our context and the climate change realities that we face. And so I think the conversation nationally, because of the Auditor General's report and because of Hurricane Melissa, seems to view ODPEM only as a Melissa response entity. It's not. ODPEM has a broader mandate to help with disaster preparedness. And we are going into a hurricane season again.
But you could say though, Damien, that what ODPEM is getting wrong is, if you were to go by the Auditor General's report, is the management of the Melissa recovery aspect of its work, not necessarily responding to disasters, because notwithstanding the gaps found, I mean, nobody really complains about ODPEM not being fit for purpose in the wake of a disaster to coordinate relief and to get people in shelters and to move them around and so forth.
Right. One, because the magnitude of Melissa, right? The organization probably, as it's structured and with its governance and internal issues, just not in the position to respond effectively to this massive pressure that the hurricane brought. Two, because this relief effort and recovery effort was always going to require more than ODPEM. Three, because the monies that have come, the $1.4 billion that have come as donations, separate and apart from government spending, and those monies have to be treated in a very careful way, lest it's said that people give them money and we spend it and we don't know where it is, right? And so with all of those things put together, right, I am prepared to say, give ODPEM a little bit of grace. We're not necessarily saying that they shouldn't have spent more. We would love for more to be spent. But with all the things put together, give a little bit of grace. Now, NARA and NARA's function based on its legislation does not make ODPEM obsolete. And it doesn't make ODPEM's role of a broader work important. And we need to fix those issues, right? What NARA will help with is the pace at which the reconstruction efforts and the rebuilding efforts can be done in terms of prioritized projects, right? But everything to do with communities that have been affected and the response to that will still sit under ODPEM's purview.
Yeah. Well, you know, we're well over the time, Damon, but we really appreciate your contribution this morning. And
I hope it helped the listeners.
No, man, I'm sure it has, based on what the interaction we're seeing. Yeah, people have been reacting positively. So yeah, man, we appreciate the perspective and the light that you have sought to shed on the issues. Really appreciate it. Thank you this morning.
Noted, man. Blessings.
Social transformation specialist there, Damian Hilton. We certainly benefited from the conversation. Here's the thing, though, before we go to the break. One of the things that, I may have said it a long time ago, and I only came to this understanding, deep understanding, when I worked in the public sector for 2 years myself. People miss that when funds are donated, they can't be spent for anything than the specific thing they were donated for, which is why special rules attend to how these resources are used. And if I may give simple examples, bear with me a little bit, Jermaine, before we go to the break. If it is that Tawna has lost everything in her studio here, and people come together and donate money for microphones, for 3D printed image on the desk, for computers, for keyboards, for almost said mice, for mouse, and for stationery. You can't use the monies to buy a car for Tawna. You can't buy her eyeglasses. You can't buy headphones, because the monies have not come for any of those things. They've come for microphone, computer, mouse, and the things I pointed to.
Yes.
So you have to, that's how specific they have to be managed, because they have to be managed specifically because they come for specific purposes like those. And so people tend to believe that, oh, you get 1.4 billion and people want this and them not get it. Or you get $10 and people want that and you know spend it on it. You have to put it through the processes where they are directed at the specific areas that they are intended to be spent on, and then you do the spending. And of course, you know, with government, it take a while, it take a time, which is why they're trying to get this new legislation in to shorten the time that things take to be processed, so that monies can be spent for what they've been donated for, and the earmarks proceed without any glitches.
And that's
It's
why
as
the
simple as that.
funds are not in the console.
And that's why they're not commingled with the consolidated fund, because you'll never know what is what, because it's just one big saving pan where everything just spent upon whatever it is that needs addressing. Roads, a bridge collapses, you go in the console fund for some money, but you can't use the Melissa funds for that, because nobody sent any money to fix any road or any bridge. They send for rebuilding homes, fixing community center, this, that. That's as specific as that. All right, I hope that helps.
For all your scales and food processing equipment, call Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited at 876-968-9612 to 5. The time by Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited is
7:51.
Hawkeye is protecting homes, businesses, and communities with trusted security solutions. The temperature by Hawkeye, securing what matters most, is
28 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 28 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 24 degrees Celsius in Mandeville.
Imagine designing something unique, something personal, something bigger than just a dream. A reality designed by you, just for you. With Sagicor Lifestyle Approved Retirement Scheme, you can design the life you want to live. With tax-deferred savings of up to 20% of your income, you'll have the opportunity to do what you've always wanted to do. A reality designed by you. Call 888-SAGICOR today. Conditions apply.
And I'm just seeing this comment from Two Music Mai in the chat. Of course, no, I wasn't even on the chat for the majority of the program. But Two Music Mai says, I heard a blogger saying that the donations could use and buy beds for hospitals. Can you believe the lack of knowledge we're dealing with in Jamaica? No,
Yeah.
Two Music Mai is right.
Yeah.
You can't. I don't know. That's how the thing go.
Yeah.
You know, if I remember, we were managing it may have been a World Bank project, and they sent funds for a project that we were executing. I don't think we were the sole agency responsible, but we had a large role to play. It was NEPA at the time. And there was some money left over. So I said, I got excited now. So I said, all right, so since we have so and so and so, why don't we, in public education and corporate communication, we need to so and so, and I'm thinking of Bethel Town here and this, that, and then name drop some communities, Alligator Pond. We could use the fund. And then I look at me like, No, young man, I don't say this thing work.
No.
No. If we have done what the funds were sent for, what you send back the rest. Because the people them never send no money for you go find things to do with the balance. Because that is what breeds the corruption. Because you're going to manage a project in a way so that balance left over so you can do what, oh yeah, this project, that. No. If the man them send them money for buy rice, you cannot use the money to buy flour. It's as simply you want sugar like a no, the money come to buy rice. Rice it has to be.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, turning our attention now to taxi operators, the president of the All Voice Taxi Association, Lorraine Finnegan, says his members are satisfied with the timeline given by Transport Minister Darrell Vaz to implement the long-awaited 16% fare increase. The government approved a 35% fare increase in October 2023. However, only a 19% component was implemented. The additional 16% was scheduled for implementation in April 2024. However, due to high inflation, the fare adjustment was not made. During a stakeholder meeting on Monday, Minister Vaz said a submission on the increase will go to Cabinet on June 1. Finnegan says assurances from both Minister Vaz as well as the Finance Minister Favour Williams are welcomed. And the Transport Minister Darrell Vaz joins us now. Good morning to you.
Morning to you both, morning to listeners.
Morning, Minister.
Minister Vaz, what is being considered going into the deliberations to give the taxi operators a fare increase sometime after June 1?
So the submission has been drafted and sent to the Ministry of Finance, obviously, because it has fiscal implications. Obviously, we are cognizant of the fact that the 16% was committed, as you said in your run-up for April 2024, and because of inflation and other reasons we couldn't effect it. That was done with the consensus of the transport operators in a meeting with Minister Clark at the time, and basically we've just not been able to do it because obviously of the inflationary impact based on the circumstances that have faced Jamaica between Beryl, between Belisa, the after COVID effects, and of course now we have a war on our hands. So what we will do is go to Cabinet on June 1st. Obviously, I'm sure the Ministry of Finance will do their assessment and have some scenarios. Obviously, the best case scenario would be the 16%, but definitely, if not that, some other phase implementation with obviously increase immediately and the balance within a timeline, which obviously would be a commitment that will be irrevocable based on the situation of the April 2024 promised increase that never happened.
Was it discussed yesterday about how the increase might be applied, meaning whether to the fare increase that they got in 2023 or something else?
So no. So what was very clear from the meeting yesterday, which was a very cordial meeting, was that the 16% is what they are expecting, and they made that point very, very clear. No commitments were made because obviously it has to go through the review, which the Minister of Finance will probably involve Bank of Jamaica and PIOG, etc. And of course, a collective decision would have to be made at Cabinet. So no individual minister would be in a position to take or signal what the outcome would be, other than to say that we would definitely, well, me from my standpoint, obviously, lobby for the 16%. But again, that decision will be after deliberations on the 1st of June at Cabinet.
The troubling thing for me, Minister, is this. On so many routes, commuters have been faced with increased fares, unsanctioned by the authorities, but applied nonetheless by taxi operators. If we were to go by the 16%, and if you add that 16% on top of where we were in 2023, where you promised the 35 but put 18 up front and promised the 16%.
19.
Yeah? 19, right. Then people are going to be mandated to charge way below what they are charging now. Is that not a problem you're foreseeing?
So what Transport Authority has indicated is in their assessment, basically the 16% would pretty much bring normalize the fares that are being charged now. And let me point out that it's not sanctioned. It's not across the board. There are certain routes and operators that are still operating within the fare structure. But again, that was something that was raised yesterday. I also made the point in my discussions yesterday that the Petrojam pricing mechanism, despite the fact that we had discussed the removal of the cap and a tiered approach, we have not been able to implement that tiered approach because the review from the Ministry of Finance shows that the impact on inflation and cost of living would be so exorbitant that it's best to remain as we are now with the cap. That is costing the government between $1.5 million US and $2 million US a week.
Yeah.
And the biggest beneficiaries of that, obviously, would be the public transport operators based on their usage of fuel. So it's not a situation that the government is not doing everything in their power to cushion the effects. And as I pointed out to them yesterday, giving the 16% in one hand and removing the price cap of $4.50 would evaporate the 16% in a matter of minutes.
Would torpedo them. But just to get you clearly, because those who are charging fares that weren't sanctioned by the authorities, of course, risk prosecution if they are caught doing so. So effectively you're saying what the 16% will do is legitimize the markup that they've applied arbitrarily. So in real terms, some routes may not get any material increase even after the 16 has been granted.
That's correct. That's absolutely correct. No, the fact of the matter is that the BOJ uses the 23 numbers. So the fact that it wouldn't have a material effect still doesn't mean that there wouldn't be an inflationary impact on it based on the calculations used. So again, as I said to them and I say to your listeners and to Jamaica, we are in a very delicate balancing act. Everything that you do, every action, there is a reaction. And the bottom line is that we, as you know, are trying to balance very delicately, manage the inflation and obviously to cushion as best as possible the effects of the war.
Will Petrojam continue hugging up those losses until June when the 16% is due to be applied?
Well, as it stands now, the discussions that I've had with the Ministry of Finance and with Cabinet is that we hold on the introduction of a tiered system until further notice.
And what's the bill? Go ahead, Minister.
It has cost us close to $4 billion already from the war started, and it is costing us on average between $1.5 million and $2 million US dollars a week. So easy calculation, $300 million is what the government is absorbing to cushion the effects. And you're talking about moving from $4.50 to possibly $12.50 per litre per week. That's what the government is doing at this point in time, based on the $4.50 cap. So let that be known very far and wide, because it is a real issue. And the bottom line is we have no idea when this war is going to stop. And even after that, it is going to take some time
for normalcy to return. Yeah. Quick one before you go. The decision to ease the number of JUTC units on that Ochi route because of the cries from the transport operators.
Again, trying to balance trying to balance the issues. I've seen the backlash that I'm getting on social media, and I can understand fully, and it is something that we will have to review over time. But again, very delicate balancing act, because obviously we're trying to keep everybody in business. So we have an obligation to the public transport operators as well as JUTC. So you will hear more on that.
All right. Thank you this morning. Darrell Vaz, the Minister of Transport. Break time, back with Across Jamaica.
Front Page was brought to you today by ABC Electrical Sales. For a better choice in the electrical business.
The time by Grace Good Move is
4 minutes after 8.
Interex Distributors presents the ultimate tile clearance sale. Transform your space for less. Dunrobin Plaza, 30 Dunrobin Avenue. The temperature by Interex Distributors is
28 degrees Celsius in capital city Kingston, also 28 out west in Montego Bay. In Mandeville, 24 degrees Celsius.
From the mountainside to seaside, countryside to townside, inside and outside, it's Across Jamaica this morning.
Taking you across Jamaica this Tuesday morning, May 19, 2026 in St. Anne. The frequency of the Oteria service offered by the Jamaica Urban Transit Company, JUTC, is set to be reduced as of Wednesday, May 20. The service route 612 was introduced in March this year. It currently provides 6 round trips per day between Spanish Town and Oterias via the North-South Highway. In a statement on Monday, JUTC said the decision to cut the number of trips is based on concerns raised by operators of public passenger vehicles PPVs who also serve the route. The company says its intention is not to displace PPV operators, but rather to complement the available transport options for commuters. JUTC says it remains committed to providing a safe and reliable transportation option for commuters between Kingston, that's the Kingston Metropolitan Transport Region, and Oterias. It says, however, that it recognizes that balance must be maintained within the sector. Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton is calling on the World Health Organization, WHO, to develop standardized clinical guidelines to address the issue of menopause. Dr. Tufton made the call at the Global Action on Menopause reception at the 79th World Health Assembly in Geneva, Switzerland.
There are some challenges that we face. Firstly, the absence of clinical guidelines on the global stage is a real challenge. And that's why I'm happy to see WHO here. And we call on the WHO to help us to lead that charge. We will certainly take it to the agenda of the Americas through the Pan American Health Organization to lead any sorts of resolution. We're happy to co-sponsor with any other nation here within the halls of the WHO. And we look forward to the continuation of this struggle in order to achieve the desired objectives that we all desire.
According to the Ministry of Health, over 200,000 women are affected by menopause. Dr. Tufton says the ministry is working to implement measures that will result in more conversations and clinical guidelines for treating menopause.
Last week I took to the Parliament of Jamaica a statement where work has started, which will lead to a green paper for conversation around menopause. Included in that is public education, as the minister has just outlined. It's also beginning to craft clinical guidelines that hopefully will sensitize our clinicians as well as the general population, including women who are impacted, around the appropriate approach to take. We hope this will break down the stigma and certainly create a more equitable society in terms of the universal principle of access to health.
Dr. Christopher Tufton, Minister of Health and Wellness. Finally, across Jamaica, a St. James man wanted in connection with a murder investigation has been arrested in Manchester. He is a 25-year-old Richard Morgan, otherwise called Country. He hails from Spot Valley, Rosal District in St. James. Morgan was arrested on Sunday by the Area 3 Fugitive Apprehension Team. Reports are about 6:25 p.m. A police team was on an operation when they intercepted a Toyota Coaster bus traveling in Greenville, Mandeville. Morgan was a passenger on the bus. And that's it for Across Jamaica for this Tuesday morning.
Already have a T-Tag for your vehicle? Just top it up and go through. Now you can see funds in your T-Tag account almost immediately after topping up. So, if you're already on your journey, you can safely pull off the road and top up using the My T-Tag app or WhatsApp, or ask your passenger to do it for you. And within 5 to 10 minutes, you can enjoy the lower toll rates and other benefits of the T-Tag lane. Even if you forget to top up before you started your trip, top up your T-Tag and continue to go through quicker and cheaper on Transjam highways.
Behind every fair trade, safe science, and reliable system is one invisible science, metrology. Join Nationwide 90 FM live during Nationwide This Morning on Wednesday, May 20 from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. for special coverage of World Metrology Day 2026 under the theme Metrology, Building Trust in Policymaking. This special open day activity marks the global observance of World Metrology Day, commemorating the signing of the AMETA Convention in 1875 and spotlighting the science of measurement. So tune into Nationwide This Morning on Wednesday, May 20 from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. Catch this and so much more on our YouTube channel, Nationwide 90 FM Live. Keep your dials locked to Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. This broadcast is brought to you by the National Compliance and Regulatory Authority.
What does justice in the workplace really look like after industrial relations in Jamaica? Join Nationwide 90 FM for a delayed broadcast Wednesday, May 20 from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. as we take you inside the Industrial Disputes Tribunal Symposium under the theme Promoting Justice, Fairness, and Workplace Harmony. 50 years later, the conversation continues and the next chapter begins here. So tune in to Nationwide 90 FM for a delayed broadcast Wednesday, May 20 from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. Catch this and so much more on our YouTube channel, Nationwide 90 FM Live. Keep your dials locked to Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. This broadcast is brought to you by the Minister of Labour and Social Security.
Welcome. There we go. So on Sunday, I watched a Brazilian league game between, was it Coritiba and Santos? I'm trying to remember who beat up Santos. There was a team I was watching that was beating up Santos. I really wasn't watching the other side. I was watching Neymar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Neymar now 34 years old, well past his prime, ran around on the field looking like a pensioner.
Oh dear.
A pensioner with severe arthritis.
Oh wow, really? It was that bad?
It was that bad. And he got picked by Carlo Ancelotti for the Brazil squad that will play at the World Cup in the US, Mexico, and Canada. 2018 was when Neymar was at his absolute peak.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you want a fancy word, his talent and his abilities at the time, he was at the apogee, apogee,
yeah,
of his abilities. And he went to the World Cup and him dive out the whole World Cup. Tana, as you blow up on Neymar and drop.
No, I was
And
watching.
rolling.
It became a joke.
Tana, rolling. It became
Everything
a meme.
Neymar dropped.
Everything. And I was incensed. I was a sportsman at the time, obviously.
Yeah.
And we were camped at the Kia showroom on Oxford Road. That's where our broadcast headquarters were.
Mm-hmm.
And we had World Cup players on the panel. We had FIFA referees. We had an international cast that was anchoring for the month. And let me tell you, I was distraught looking at how a supremely gifted individual with a talent that only CR7 and Messi could perhaps, look at Neymar and say, But on a good day, not even them would do it.
This is Neymar.
And the man...
let me show you.
Yeah. Is it Tana Neymar now? Because you should. The man dive out the whole World Cup. And now at 34.
Trying to catch fouls, man.
Yeah, at 34. I saw a meme one. There was a meme one in that time where he started rolling.
Yes.
And then, there's a movie, an animated movie. So he started rolling at the start of the movie. And when the movie done, Neymar still a roll till him reach up at the equator. Then him roll and roll till him reach Australia. Then him roll off of the globe and roll God in the space. It was awful. And now Don Carlo has given Neymar a call up. And the Chelsea fans especially are incensed because a player who's a good player, of course he's no Neymar talent-wise. And you see, one of the things I shouldn't say I hate it, but with modern media, you have to explain everything down to the minute detail, and still people are going to misrepresent what you say and start quarrel over something you never say. Because there are people who are going to say, Mr. Neymar no good. Like they are idiots. I'm saying Neymar was lavishly talented, supremely talented. But because of mindset, when he was at his peak, he abused his gifts and sought to dive out and roll out the whole tournament rather than stay on his foot and play ball. And now, when him all are arthritic, they've given him another chance.
True.
No, sir.
Such a talented, gifted guy. But it's like him joke out the game.
I don't know.
The games.
You see, when sports people achieve a lot early and still remain hungry and committed, you have to applaud them. When you have sports people who achieve a lot early and then they just take things for joke afterwards, he's one of them. He won the Champions League early. Played with Messi in Messi's absolute blinding prime at Barcelona, with himself and Luis Suarez. They formed the deadly trio. And he was part of the best Barcelona team of all time, arguably the best club football side of all time. He was a part of that front and center. And then he left and went to PSG because he wanted to be his own man. He wanted to be the king. Mbappe was there, so that was never going to work. And then Messi joined them, so it was. Let me tell you, Neymar. I'm sure you have many teachers who know some bright pitney who just joke out them and Neymar that.
Yeah.
Had every gift in the world. It's like God bless him and say, you are going to play football, you're going to entertain. Go and apply your gifts. Neymar applied them for a while. One was to win, except the World Cup, and then he just decides I'm going to just joke it out after that.
Oh my goodness me. And several of our YouTubers are reacting like that. Leonard Sifil says, Neymar is a big joke up. Pure drop and roll. It was a joke. And Bali said, Lala, true. Brazil done. Is Brazil you supporting?
No. The thing about me is that
you don't have a set side?
I don't have an international side because I find over time that I watch football better.
George is a wagonist and Tiamas.
No, let me explain. No, man. Oh, God, Tana. Oh, gosh. Put some respect for me thing, Tana. You understand? What I do is from ever since, and I watch a lot of football, and I have over time, I don't make an emotional investment in major tournaments because I want to enjoy the football. People don't realize, and even when you tell them, because I'm used to what I'm used to, they don't listen to what you say. So hear me out. When you have an emotional investment in football, you don't enjoy it as much as the person who doesn't. So if you're an Arsenal fan or a Manchester United fan or a Chelsea fan or a City fan or whatever, you can't enjoy the other teams playing good football because you're thinking of your team in the context of how well they're doing. And if you watch a game between your side and one next side, you can't really enjoy the game because you have skin in the game.
You're so right.
So for the World Cup, there's no greater joy for me than to watch the game with all the big guns and cheering for them. I mean, I'm in my house watching Barcelona and Real Madrid. If Real score, me jump up. If Barca score, me jump up. And people look at me like, hold on there. So which side I support? None. I enjoy the football. And I can enjoy the football better that way.
But me like the emotions.
Well, that are you. You understand? Listen, I used to be like all of you.
Hey, you know me cry?
We all did.
I said lose man, but cry.
We all did. Me thump up my granny window already. I mash up things in the house and I realize, but you're an idiot. Why you do this for?
Listen, there's something about the World Cup when you're in on a side and then your side lose. The emotions are roller coaster.
When Argentina lost Italia 90, the final to Brazil, I must have bought about 8 days.
Yeah, man, it's
my granny asked me if I'm an idiot. You know what I mean?
It's like
and she was right.
Yes. Peeing.
Yes. and then when Italy lost the 94 final in USA, when Argentina lost to West Germany, beg your pardon, Italy lost the 94 final to Brazil at Pasadena in California. When Baggio kicked the ball, and I hear ball see that travel see away much years later. Yeah, I was depressed. And then I tell myself, and then the turning point was 1999 Champions League final, Manchester United, Bayern Munich at the Camp Nou. We went down 1-0 to a flick from Mario Basler from Stefan Effenberg's free kick.
Yeah.
And me thump out my granny window pane. And then realized that Jesus Christ, we are going to tell Arsenal. And then after that day, I said to myself, and then Manchester United came back to win the game late. So I said, you just enjoy the football. You support the side, but just enjoy football. Just enjoy the sports. Just enjoy it. Yeah.
People mash up TV.
All them something. You can't take my expensive TV mash up
big
over
flat
football.
Screen mash up.
Really?
Yeah, because how?
No,
and I'm looking forward to the World Cup this season because it's always a spectacle in Jamaica. You see the taxi man, them regular private drivers as well with them flags on their cars. It's just a thing. And women, how the women get involved in football too. Otherwise, when it comes to Premier League, oh my God, you're taking up too much time watching Premier League. But when it comes on to World Cup, everybody's involved in the sport.
I want to tell you that you, with the emotional investment, you're not looking forward to the tournament more than me. I am. But I have the luxury of being able to enjoy the result, whichever way it go.
Diarrhea, man.
No, sir.
You have to go away from the TV and come back.
It was a thing when we were at Sportsman because I was telling them that, listen, how are you getting yourself worked over multi-millionaires playing a game and losing the game?
That's the love of the sport, man.
No, but and them now mash up them TV and you mash up yours? No, sir. Me now mash up my TV, I'm sorry. My TV, dear.
It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. And I'm looking forward as well to Nationwide's coverage over that period. How many games? 100 and odd games?
Yeah, all of them. We're
what
gonna
a
have
season.
all of them.
I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a great time.
Yes.
You're listening to Nationwide 90 FM. The time is
8:21.
Fontana Pharmacy has a wide variety of items from pharmaceuticals, household, cosmetics, toys, and more. The temperature by Fontana Pharmacy. It's all good inside is
29 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 29 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 26 degrees Celsius in Mandeville.
Enjoy peace of mind knowing that your hard-earned money is protected by the JDIC. That's right, the JDIC through the Deposit Insurance Scheme guarantees up to $1.2 million of your deposits in commercial banks, merchant banks, and building societies. This means your deposits, such as your savings and checking accounts, are covered. Rest easy knowing that your deposits are secure. Your deposits always protected. For more information, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at JDICJAM or visit our website at www.jdic.org.
JDIC, protecting deposits for you and me.
So where international tournaments are concerned, I'm realizing just now, Ton, I'm running it through my mind, that I've always been a dispassionate supporter. Because guess what? Clearly I was too young to remember Mexico 86 when Argentina won with Maradona, but I have a love affair with Diego Maradona. Yeah? Italian 90, it was Argentina for me because of Maradona. 94, my team was Italy because Baggio was the best player in the world and I wanted him to win the tournament. France 98, it was Brazil because of Ronaldo. 2002 was Brazil because of Ronaldo again. 2006, it was Italy. 2010, it was Spain. 2014, what am I carrying in 2014? I didn't really have a team in 2014 that I was saying, all right, I want this to win.
Yeah.
2018, I really wanted Messi to just win the World Cup and done and take, and end all the argument. It never happened that way because Germany won. 2022,
good.
I said, ball Jesus is either now or never. But I thought France had the best team, and of course you know that Messi beat them in the final. European Championships. So Euro 96, no, Euro 92, I was supporting. Euro 92, I was just in high school. Euro 92, I was supporting stupid me and never again supporting England. Let me eat that. Yeah. Euro 96, I was supporting Portugal and the Czech Republic. Euro 2000, I was supporting the Netherlands. Euro 2004, I was supporting. Euro 96, I supported the winners, Germany, the team with Oliver Bierhoff, Matthias Sammer, Olaf Thon, those guys. By Euro 2000, I was supporting Portugal again. Euro 2004, I was supporting France. And so I've always had different teams across major tours because I just love the football. I just love when big baller win big trophies. So I mean, I carry one team every year like me have contract for support. No, sir. Everywhere we go, Brazil, Italy, Argentina. No, sir. No.
Yeah, them Jamaican, Brazil for life, Argentina for life.
And then the more I read about Argentina's history with black people and black players, the less I've liked Argentina over time.
There you go.
Yeah? Yes. Anyway, Michelle, so we stopped talking about football and we stopped talking about data protection. You see how Michelle stay? She sound like what kind of fan Michelle sound like?
Which side you support, Michelle?
Reggae boys. What they say? Anyway, we're going to go with data protection, Michelle.
Data Protection Matters is brought to you by Design Privacy. We help you comply and build trust.
The alert just came in. It is real. The clock has started. You have 72 hours. This is a playbook for what happens next. This is Data Protection Matters powered by Design Privacy, and I'm your host, Chuku Emeka Cameron. Welcome to week 3 of Breach Notification, the DPO's survival guide. In week 1, we talked about the 72-hour clock, what the Jamaica Data Protection Act requires. In week 2, we built the machine, the team, the plan, the tools, and the testing. Today, we go live. We're inside the 72-hour window. A breach has been detected, and I'm going to walk you through hour by hour exactly what needs to happen. Think of this episode as your real-time playbook, something you can come back to when the moment arrives. Hour 0. Someone has reported an incident. Maybe it's an employee who noticed something strange. Maybe it's a system alert. Maybe a client called to say they received someone else's data. However it arrives, this is the moment the clock starts. In the first 2 hours, you need to accomplish 3 things. 1. Confirm the incident is real. Not every alarm is a breach, but you need to assess quickly. A false positive costs you some time. A false negative, ignoring a real breach, costs you everything. 2. Activate your incident response team. This is why you built it in week 2. The DPO, IT, management, communications, legal, whoever your team is, they need to know that an incident had been reported and that you are in assessment mode. Do not wait for a full picture before activating the team. Activate first, assess together. 3. Begin containment. If the breach is technical, a compromised system, an active intrusion, IT needs to act immediately. Isolate affected systems, disable compromised accounts, preserve evidence. Do not wait for the full scope of the breach before taking containment steps. Containment is not about understanding everything. It is about stopping the bleeding. And from this very first moment, document everything. The time the report came in, who reported it, what they observed, what actions were taken. This log becomes the backbone of everything that follows. Your notification to the OIC, your communication to stakeholders, and your legal defense if questions arise later. Now we move into assessment. And this is where most organizations slow down. Not because they want to, but because they don't have a structured process for figuring out what happened. Let me give you the questions your assessment needs to answer. What type of breach is this? Was it a confidentiality breach, where data was accessed by someone who shouldn't have seen it? Was it an integrity breach, where data was altered or corrupted? Or an availability breach, where data was lost or destroyed? What data was affected? You need to identify the categories: personal names, contact information, national ID. The JDPA requires you to report the categories and types of data involved, so your assessment needs to provide this. How many people are affected? Get an approximate number as quickly as you can. You may not have an exact count in the early hours, and that's acceptable. The OIC notification allows for approximation, but you need a credible estimate, not a guess. What is the likely risk to the affected individuals? This is the critical question. Could someone suffer identity theft, financial loss, discrimination, reputational damage, emotional distress? The level of risk determines not just whether you notify the OIC, but whether you must also notify the individuals directly. And here is something that trips up many organizations. The JDPA does not say you can only notify once you have a complete picture. You can and should submit a preliminary notification if you haven't finished your assessment. Report what you know. Indicate that the investigation is ongoing. Provide updates as more information becomes available. Do not let the pursuit of a perfect report cause you to miss the 72-hour deadline. An incomplete notification filed on time is always better than a complete notification filed too late. By the way, if you are a DPO listening right now and you don't have notification templates ready to go, that's a gap you should close this week. At designprivacy.io, we can help you build the templates, the workflows, and the assessment frameworks that you need. Now, we enter the notification phase, and there are 2 tracks running simultaneously. Track 1, notification to the OIC. Your notification to the OIC needs to include several elements: a description of the nature of the breach, the categories and approximate number of data subjects affected, the categories and types of personal data involved, the measures you have taken or plan to take to address the breach and mitigate its effects, and the name and contact details of your data protection officer. This is where your pre-built templates save you. If you built your incident response plan in week 2, you should have a notification template with these fields already structured. You fill in the specifics, you don't start from scratch. The JDPA also requires you to notify the people whose data was affected. This notification must include the nature of the breach, what you're doing about it, and how they can reach your DPO. This is often the harder communication, because you're not writing to a regulator, you are writing to a person, a customer, an employee, a member of the public who trusted you with their personal information, and you're telling them that trust was broken. My advice? Be honest, be clear, be human. Don't hide behind legal jargon. Don't minimize the breach. Tell people what happened, what it means for them, what you are doing about it, and how they can protect themselves. People forgive organizations that are honest and responsive. They do not forgive organizations that hide, delay, or deflect. No, we are past notification, but the work is far from over. Between 48 and 72 hours, you need to manage your broader stakeholders. Your board needs to know. If you have a board of directors, they need a briefing. What happened? What have you done? What the exposure is, and what is the plan going forward. Do not let your board learn about a breach from a newspaper or a client's angry phone call. Your clients need to know, especially if you process data on behalf of other organizations. If you're a processor, your data controller clients are the ones with the ultimate regulatory obligation. They need the information to make their own notification decisions immediately. Your staff need to know what to say, because clients will call. Partners will ask questions. Staff need clear guidance on what the organization's position is and who inquiries should be directed to. The worst thing that can happen is 10 different employees giving 10 different stories. And if the breach is significant enough, if it affects a large number of people, or if it involves particularly sensitive data, you may need a public communication strategy, a statement on your website, an FAQ page, a media responsive journalist starts calling. All of this should be pre-planned, not improvised. That's why in week 2, we said your incident response plan needs a communication section with templates and approved messages. Let me pull it all together. Hours 0 to 2, detect, confirm, activate your team, contain the threat, start documenting. Hours 2 to 12, assess the scope, identify the data, estimate the impact, determine the risk to the individuals. Hours 12 to 48, notify the OIC, affected individuals. Be honest, clear, be human. 48 to 72 hours, brief your board, inform your clients. And through every hour, document everything. Next Tuesday, our final episode, we'll talk about what happens after the storm, post-breach recovery, lessons learned, and building a culture of breach readiness so that the next time your response is even stronger. If you need help building your 72-hour playbook, go to designprivacy.io. This has been Data Protection Matters. I am Chuka Emeka Cameron. The clock is ticking. You now know what to do with every hour.
Data Protection Matters was brought to you by Design Privacy. We help you comply and build trust.
Rebuild with standards, rebuild with confidence. Test your blocks, concrete, cement, aggregates, and other building materials at the Bureau of Standards Jamaica. The BSJ, building a nation, test by test. The time by the BSJ is
8:36.
For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies including plugs, switches, panel boards, and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer, and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10, or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business. This station raised me. It gave me a voice. And if Nationwide has ever meant something to you, come on in. Join the Nationwide 90 FM Family Club today on Patreon.
Behind every fair trade, safe science, and reliable system is one invisible science, metrology. Join Nationwide 90 FM live during Nationwide This Morning on Wednesday, May 20 from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. for special coverage of World Metrology Day 2026 under the theme Metrology, Building Trust in Policymaking. This special open day activity marks the global observance of World Metrology Day, commemorating the signing of the AMETA Convention in 1875 and spotlighting the science of measurement. So tune in to Nationwide This Morning on Wednesday, May 20 from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. Catch this and so much more on our YouTube channel, Nationwide 90 FM Live. Keep your dials locked to Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. This broadcast is brought to you by the National Compliance and Regulatory Authority.
Welcome back to Nationwide 90 FM. May is Mental Health Awareness Month. The month serves as an important reminder that mental health is just as essential as physical health. Across Jamaica and the wider Caribbean, conversations surrounding emotional well-being, stress, anxiety, depression, and psychological support are becoming increasingly important as more people continue to silently struggle with mental and emotional challenges. As we observe Mental Health Awareness Month under the theme, More Good Days Together, I'm being joined by President of the Jamaica Psychiatric Association, Dr. Brian Kazara. Good morning, sir.
Yes, good morning. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man, you're welcome. All right. Talk to me though about your work in neuropsychology, the field, what specifically what it specializes in, and for those youngsters listening to us, and there are always youngsters listening to us, Dr. Kazara, the path to get into neuropsychology.
Just for clarity, I am not a neuropsychologist, but I am a psychiatrist, and I certainly can speak to that if you'd like me to.
Yes.
No problem. Not a problem at all.
Yes.
So, for psychiatry, it's a branch of medicine that focuses on mental health conditions, common conditions that we see, like depression and anxiety, are among the ones that are most commonly dealt with. In order to become a psychiatrist, you have to first go to medical school. What that entails is actually getting very good grades for your A-level or CAPE exams, in particular in chemistry and biology and another subject. Oftentimes that might be physics or math, but it can be any subject. And that will allow you to get into medical school. Then you have to complete 5 years of medical school. And then after completing the 5 years of medical school, you have 2 years, your internship, and what we call the senior health officer year, where you are learning under the guidance of more senior doctors in a hospital setting and also at the health center. After doing those 2 years, you finally have to do about 4 additional years in what we call residency, which is specialty training. And then after that 4 years in psychiatry, that's when you become a psychiatrist. So, it is a long road. But for those who are interested, I would tell you that it is worth it because it's a great area to go into.
Mm-hmm. The issue of mental health, Dr. Kazara, big no, clearly bigger than it has ever been in terms of the amount of hours dedicated to the topic weekly on podcasts, on dedicated programs, not so much the written material anymore because people are not heavily into newspapers, but all over the internet you can find tips and conversations about the importance of mental health. What is, if any, the difference between mental health and brain health, and what is the relationship between the two if they are indeed separate entities?
Okay, great question. So, very significant overlap. The reality is that when we talk about mental health, we are in fact talking about brain health because your mental health is dependent on the state of your brain. If there's any kind of significant damage that has been incurred, whether due to physical trauma, like a car accident, or if you perhaps have been taking excessive amounts of substances that can affect the brain, like persons who might have significant substance misuse over a stretch of time, those things will not only affect the brain, but then go on to affect one's mental health. And there's lots of research and study to back that. So mental health certainly includes, or better, mental health is in fact a part of brain health. However, that being said, when we talk about brain health, it extends beyond just mental health, because there are conditions, for example, one were to have a seizure or migraines and other conditions that are a result of damage to the brain that we don't necessarily consider being mental health conditions. So, in short, what we can say is that certainly any mental health condition is a brain health condition, but not every brain health condition is a mental health condition.
There you go. I got that. All right. The issue of stigma, Dr. Kazara, I look around and there are many issues that people have grappled with over time where the stigma was high. For instance, not so long ago, people with HIV were pariahs. Nobody wanted to know anybody with that. Now I see people using their images, allowing their images to be used on billboards, talking about HIV medicines. So the stigma around that is significantly reduced. What about mental health issues and the stigma around that? Has that reduced significantly? Are people becoming more understanding?
Yes, great question. So I think we have come a long way from where we used to be as a society when it comes to how we talk about mental health and how we treat it. When I was in high school, I don't even think the term mental health was ever, I don't think I kind of recall hearing the term mental health or even using it myself. And now I think if you speak to almost any high school student, they'll be very aware, probably even almost any primary school student. Actually, my hospital, Bellevue Hospital, we did an outreach program last week going to a primary school, and we spoke to some of the young grade 5 and grade 6 children, and all of them at least had an idea of what mental health was. They knew the word, they knew the vocabulary. So certainly it's become a lot more widespread in terms of people appreciating what it is, and as a result, a lot more people are seeking care, and that's a very positive thing. That being said, in order to answer your question in a balanced view, even though, or balanced way I should say, even though we certainly have come a long way in regards to how we discuss mental health and our willingness to be open about it, there's still a very long way to go, because as you rightly highlight, stigma still exists, and it's a huge barrier to care, because many people don't want to go to their mental health clinic or go to the hospital because they're afraid that if persons are to know that they're seeking mental health care, that they will think that something is fundamentally wrong with them, rather than just view it as a health condition like any other.
Yeah, and but there's so much to cover, but the time doesn't allow. But on the issue of social media pressures, Dr. Kazara, and the pressure to be part of communities, to follow trends, the pressure to be strong, the strong person is the one who has issues but soldiers on, who doesn't seek help. Is that changing?
Yes, I would say it is slowly but surely. But, we do have to acknowledge that, that has been a part of our culture for a very long time. And those kind of cultural shifts do take a while to change. And we have to also acknowledge that that view is one that is disproportionately affects men, because a lot of men in our society are socialized to believe that it's not appropriate for them to open up about their emotional needs or concerns. So, I would like to think that the current generation of men are a bit more emotionally aware and willing to speak about things that affect them. But I would still say, similar to stigma, there's still a long way to go, because this is quite ingrained in our culture.
Hear you on that. Well, wish you all the best with your work down there at Bellevue Hospital and the team that support you. And may we all have a greater understanding and appreciation of the things that cause people to have mental health struggles, and to encourage those who we see who, may not be their usual selves, to seek help and not try to solve these problems alone.
Yes, thank you. And I'll say once again that, programs like this go a long way in facilitating exactly what you just highlighted. Us having these discussions empowers people to feel like they can seek care when they need it. So thank you so much for segments like this.
You're welcome, sir. President of the Jamaica Psychiatric Association, Brian Kazara. We take a break, back with the birthdays.
Decorate like a designer with BH Paints. The time brought to you by BH Paints is
8:48.
I had some problems, and no one could seem to solve them. But you found the answer. You told me to take this chance and learn the ways of love, my baby, and all that it has to offer. In time you will see that love won't let you down. You said that you loved me, said hurt only came to pass me. It sounded so convincing that I gave it half a chance and learned the ways of love, my baby. There is so much love inside me. And all that I have, I give my all to you.
Good morning to our good friend Jason Oliphant. I use reverse psychology upon King. You came to the party and you were treated very well. You and the lady, you and the Mrs. Oliphant, the better half, And I don't know, you could have told Jermaine some boy somebody serve a cold soup or something happening, or I don't know. We don't know what happened. You never get one fork or something, but you just cut off the man, so. Jason, you haven't better than that. And I call you to use reverse psychology. Oh, God, Jason. Jason, you haven't better than that, Jason. You understand? A long time the friendship about you. They can't water it down for them little thing there. They need to do better. All right, sir? Good morning to Jason Oliphant. And Mrs. Oliphant as well. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
So your friends, Tana, say that George is a wagonist. A wagonist is someone who follows the hot trend or the hot team. I've given you a history of the teams I have support. Those are big name teams, but those have not necessarily been the teams that have gone to the tournaments as favorites. You understand? Some people pay, armchair attention. The football is something I study. Yeah, for many years of my life, it was my bread and butter. It was what put food on the table. So I had to be deeply immersed in it. So then I go tell me how much I love and enjoy my football. I don't know what other.
Them say pick a side, George.
No,
pick a side.
that's a simplistic way. Yeah, that's for simple minds.
Listen, picking the side comes with community.
No.
And family.
I already have a community.
And belonging.
Nationwide, Manchester United and Hornet Guards. Me no need no more family. Me no need no more. Anything else is a bonus. Okay? Thank you.
Brazil.
No, sir. And Cuban as part. Me no need no more family.
You have plenty family.
Much family we don't answer. That's our problem. We don't have too much family.
Yeah. That time though, when we tell some very special people happy birthday, Christopher Henry sending happy birthday to cousin Warren Brown. Good morning to you, Warren. Happy birthday to you from your cousin Christopher Henry. Arlene Rowe, good morning, Lady Arlene, sending she says heavenly birthday blessings to my friend Pauline Stewart, aka Baby Ann of Woodford Park and from Portland. Yesterday was Susie's own. You both always keep a party together, and she says miss you. So sending you much love today, Arlene. And Narinja, hope I'm pronouncing that right. She's sending happy birthday greetings to Elizabeth Campbell, 93 years old today.
What?
So put some respect on it.
That's right.
Auntie Elizabeth Campbell.
Yes.
93 years old today.
Auntie Liz.
Yes, Auntie Liz. Greetings are coming from your children, your grand and your great-grand and great-great-grandchildren.
Love it.
Yeah. So happy birthday to you. Clarence Whitaker sending happy birthday to... So Clarence says, good morning. Happy birthday to me, Clarence. Have a wonderful day. Then Clarence said, love me.
Go on, Clarence. Third person. Yeah.
Pick up yourself, Clarence, on your birthday.
Yeah, man.
Happy birthday to you. Wishing for your wonderful one. Ursuline Bowen says, my birthday is today. I'm off from work, and so I'm going to splurge.
Oh, you mean?
I wish myself all the luck going forward.
That's right.
Of course.
Yes.
Of course, Ursuline.
Yes.
Happy birthday to you. Wishing for your lovely day off from work, and enjoy it however you choose to. Also seeing here Robert Peart sending happy birthday greetings. This one says, to my beloved Pastor Norman Swaby, have a great day. So good morning to you, Pastor Swaby. Happy birthday to you. Coming from one of your congregants, Robert Peart. Sonia Campbell sending happy birthday to her friend of 50 years, Carol Pottinger. You're truly a friend indeed. Have a marvelous day, my friend. So Carol Pottinger, happy birthday to you from your friend of 50 years, Sonia Campbell. And Arlene Rowe also sending happy birthday blessings to her cousin Marjorie Rowe. They're in a compound town in St. Elizabeth.
Maroon.
Yeah, enjoy your day. So good morning to you, Marjorie Rowe. It's your birthday today. Happy birthday to you from your cousin Arlene Rowe. David Barrett sending happy birthday greetings to Tiana Michael. Wishing her a happy birthday today from mom Nadine, brother Lance Courtney, and her husband Nagib. So happy birthday to ya. Queen is sending happy birthday to Charlotte Brown. Charlotte Brown, it's your birthday today. Happy birthday to you from Queen here in the chat. And Blessed Marcia Favor is asking George, when is your birthday? It's in
Me?
November.
Yeah, man, November.
So
Marcia,
some
just
time
go on.
to
Yeah,
go.
man, put the thing together. Marcia, you can start pat the barrel friend now, you know. Because if you send it off by September. Okay.
End
If
of
you send it
summer?
by September. Send it out by September, Marcia. And it will reach me in time for the birthday. So the pants where you send and the shirt and the shoes, I'm gonna wear them for my birthday. Alright? Yeah, Marcia.
Marcia said duly noted.
That's duly noted.
Alright.
I mean, may I get married like your birthday, God, you don't get the married?
No problem. Just include some things.
Yeah, man, you can't go that, man. Yeah, man, space in every time of things. Now, you talk about, man. Yeah, man. So, Marcia, yeah, man, barrel come. Thank you.
In advance. All right, who else is celebrating a birthday today? Let's see. Arlene Rose says, enjoy your birthday in Kingston, Marjorie. She lives in Almond Town. All right, so good morning to Lady Marjorie over there in Almond Town, celebrating her birthday today. She's originally from Compound Town. Ina Brown sending happy sweet 16 birthday to her beautiful granddaughter, Kayla Rain Bignell, who celebrated her birthday yesterday. So belated happy birthday greetings going out to Kayla Rain Bignell. And your grandma is saying love you to the moon and back. Let's see here now who's celebrating a birthday on Facebook. We have some of our Facebook friends. Happy birthday greetings going out to, is this Kike Green, Lorraine J. Smith, Nicole Crawford, Mark Haynes, Kristen Sr., and Christina Bell. Happy birthday. Happy birthday greetings also to Sandra Knuckle in Falmouth, Shernet Henlon in Falmouth as well, and Alexmore Stevens in Westmoreland. These greetings are coming from Sergeant Wallace. And Llewellyn Winter has another son celebrating a birthday. So Llewellyn says, please wish another son of mine, Brandon Winter, happy birthday. So Brandon's birthday was yesterday. So belated happy birthday greetings to you, Brandon, from your daddy, Llewellyn Winter.
How many Sundays are in a year?
20.
So 52 weeks. So there are at least 52 Sundays.
Mm-hmm.
At most, around about 52. I wonder if Llewellyn has as many sons as there are Sundays in the year. Likely, you know. Can they want the prolific, you know?
No.
Great Llewellyn Winter. Morning, sir. Morning.
No children.
Enough children. Good morning, Mr. Deacon Twits. Good morning.
Yeah.
Children. Love it.
Calvin sending happy birthday greetings. This one says happy 8th birthday to my son, my prince, Yuri. And it's coming from your mommy and the rest of the family. They're saying to you, we love you endlessly. So good morning to Yuri. Happy birthday greetings to you.
Do you know that? I think it's in Russian. Yuri is George.
Oh, for real?
Remember I was telling you that Jürgen, German Jürgen is George. Jorge is in the Spanish is George.
Yeah.
George.
Yeah.
The Portuguese is George. Yuri, Russian for George, man.
Before I research my thing, I'll come back in.
Tana? No, sir. If you say money, your father make up that. Daddy make up that, man. Daddy had some BBC one morning and say, you know, my dear, you know, I think, you know, I just, you know what?
We'll find out 19 and come back. You know?
Yeah.
Some final ones here. Elaine Williams sending happy birthday to Jovi Jarrett of St. Andrew High. Sweet little girl and very talented. So the talented Jovi Jarrett over there at St. Andrew High, a happy birthday to you from Elaine Williams. And Sonia Campbell sending happy birthday to grandson Davian Thompson over there in Fort Lauderdale. Happy birthday. Oh, her nephew, Davian Thompson. A happy birthday to you from your auntie Sonia Campbell.
Oh, you know, say Giorgio's backup name would have been Yuri.
Oh yeah?
So if we never get Giorgio, when I get Yuri.
Yeah. Oh, he's such a champ.
Easy the man.
Yeah.
Ciao.
Should bring him here more often.
What up, the girls week?
Yeah, good time.
He asked me yesterday, you know, about coming back to my office.
No, he's.
It's a Bill, man. Bill.
Yeah.
But I miss you.
Yeah. What? Georgia is awesome.
All right, then.
All right. So that's about it for the show. Thank you so much for tuning in to Nationwide this morning. Thanks to our technical operator, Jermaine King, super producer, Michelle McCray Smith, and our super editor in the newsroom, Kimon Thompson. Up next, the Consumer Hour with Norgay Banton at 10. Cliff is online. I'm Tana.
And I'm George.
Good morning.
Sweet thing. Oh, you know you're everything. Oh, sweet thing. Oh, you know you're everything.
You just heard Nationwide this morning on Nationwide 90 FM.
It's time for Hot Listings, Nationwide 90 FM's on-air classifieds, made for quick ads and fast results.
Ready for that unforgettable vacation? Book it now with Charitia Dream Travels. We arrange flights, cruises, accommodations, and transport. Why wait for your dream getaway? Plan it today. Contact us at 876-434-1926. That's 876-434-1926. Or visit our website at charitia.intellitravel.com.